folks, it's your boy, your pal, Mike from PA, and we are live, and we are early with that live. Welcome on into the Central Committee stream, the host of your W's. Nothing but W's today with Mike from PA. That's how we do it here. Oh my God, and my lighting. It's so funny because the only thing that changes is my background, like, is the ambient light. I don't change anything. The ambient light as the sun comes up. Mike was right. That was hard as fuck. Yeah, of course it was. How is everybody doing today? This is the day of Mike from PA W's. How does Mike keep winning? I was right that the shooter wasn't some sort of leftist. I was right about AOC is going to run for president. I was right. I mean, it's just AOC basically today, chat, it began to leak that she wants to run for president. I told you. I fucking told you. Another Mike was right moment. Okay, what is going on with them? What the fuck are we doing? What are you guys doing in the UK? What the fuck are you guys doing? What the fuck are they doing? Okay, they're super fucked over in the UK. I'm sorry, but I may have to say, you guys, like, what the fuck are you guys doing over there? Just start a new party. Call it the Workers' Party and you're done. What the fuck is she doing? Is there any way to watch the Francesca Hong interview from yesterday? Actually, yes. I think right now, everybody, my mods in particular, are a little bit more antsy-pantsy about, you know, me getting banned. Because I obviously don't. We're almost at 21K on the fundraiser now. I know, we're killing it. I posted it on my Twitter. We got another K from that, so that's pretty cool. Parties dragging their feet. Sultana is wrecking. Just leftist things. Ugh. See, one of the things about being a leftist, and I want to explain this to you, chat. There are certain types of people that are attracted to leftism who are what I would call, and I am one of these people a little bit. I used to be really bad when I was very young, but now that I'm in my 40s, I'm a little bit more agreeable. And there is a certain type of person who's disagreeable. They're just disagreeable on everything. They're not a leftist because, you know, they believe in the principles. They're a leftist because they're a disagreeable asshole. Okay? So, you know, we talk about this a lot. There is a principle in organizing that's very important called the tyranny of the annoying. What does that mean? It means people that want to distract from the work you're doing, not for like internal party reform, discussion, critique, but rather just want to hijack what you're doing and make it about whatever their bullshit is and sabotaging whatever you're doing. That's called the tyranny of the annoying. Actually, a lot of Twitch streamers are this type of person. Most of the smaller Twitch left-wing streamers on Twitch are actually annoying like this. And what I mean by that is, let's say that we have an organization, a socialist organization that is feminist, that is intersectional, that is anti-racist, and you have a leader that you think has done or said something that could be a microaggression, could be problematic. The proper way to go about it is to have a conversation in an internal discussion. It is not to run on social media and say, the leader is a racist. That's not how you have an organization. Right? If somebody works for 10 years in an organization and then something happens which you know doesn't seem to line up with their values, but then you run out of the way into public where all our enemies are and you throw shit on them, that's not leftism. That is literally wrecking, objectively wrecking. And why is it wrecking? Because there's an organization that's been set up over 10 years of effort and strain, and you're coming on and throwing shit on it. That's wrecking it. Now, it doesn't mean we tolerate any kind of crime or any kind of abuse or any kind of... No, I'm not saying that. That kind of stuff immediately needs to be exposed right away. I'm talking about, oh, I think this person might have a bad take or this person might have said something. And so Sultana basically doesn't want to agree to the democratic will of the majority. She wants to dictate what's going on, and then... I'll be honest with you, I side against what she said because, like, based on what I saw, I wouldn't want her as a leader because she came out. There was some sort of internal disagreement with a bunch of other MPs And then she immediately came out. She did something unauthorized with the group's like database, which is completely beyond the pale. That's an offense. And then she did even more by throwing shit on it by saying they're a sexist boys club, which to me sounds like I didn't get my way. Now, you can even agree with some elements of her critique, but her behaviors are anti-socialist. That's not how we do these things. We don't do what she did. Like, so right off the bat, I'm against I'm against her splinter. That kind of behavior is going to encourage further splintering, further anti-solidarity. What if somebody does the same thing to her? Is she going to be able to complain? That's a spiral of splitting. So I'm sorry, but no. You don't get to do an unauthorized message for money and then throw shit on everybody when they're like, whoa, we didn't authorize this. You agree to join an organization. It doesn't mean it means that you are democratically bound by the will of the organization or you're out. And if you're like, well, Mike, there weren't as many female MPs, therefore she's allowed to steal their list and mail them for money. What? That's not, no, bro, no. And if you can't understand why that bad behavior is bad, then you are not a very good organizer. I support leftist groups up until I have any excuse that I can use id-poll politics to describe in order to throw shit on it. What? No, that's not. Anyway, being a wrecker is a bad thing that social media encourages. And I think that one of the most important things that I have been considering, as a person who publicly calls myself a DSA member, the reason why I call myself a DSA member, because I want you to join a group in real life. And I don't care that people call me cringe because somebody on DSA does or says something that I don't like or I disagree with or acts in a cringy way. I don't give a fuck. I just want people to go, Mike's in DSA. DSA might not be so bad if they're in my community. That's what I want. I want you to join socialist orgs. I don't want you to be an unorganized leftist online. So I will take the heat, even though I consider myself to be more left-wing than DSA. I will still take the heat of being a milquetoast sock dem or dem sock, whatever the fuck, as long as it gets you to join an org. That's my fucking goal. There's a reason why I don't wade into many of DSA's caucus disagreements, because I don't think that's what a socialist member should be doing on social media. I don't think prominent socialists like myself or Hasan should be wading into DSA caucus drama. I think that's fucking stupid. And I don't like anybody who does. I don't like anybody who uses their platform to attack DSA, even if I have severe disagreements with some of the caucuses. So if I'm holding back from saying shit about DSA caucus drama, what the fuck is Sultana doing? So we have a lot of fun things to talk about. We watched a little bit of it yesterday, but Hasan Minhaj interviewed Mark Ruffalo, who has been a leftist. And I have known Mark Ruffalo for 8 years. Mark Ruffalo he has been involved in left-wing politics, progressive politics, even at the local level for a long time. He is based. I honest to God, he might be one of the most, like, he has really, now he puts his foot in the mouth and is, maybe he's kind of a little libby and he's very compassionate actor, that kind of guy. But he's fucking cool, and I like that. I like that he actually puts his money where his mouth is. Mehdi Hasan, not Hasan Minhaj. Oh, God. I said Hasan Piker in my title, too. We need the H3 podcast. Can we start the H3 podcast? There's nothing called H3 podcast right now. And I feel like Hasan Minhaj, Mehdi Hasan, and Hasan Piker, that would be the best podcast, the H3 podcast. Like, come on. Mehdi would be like the sock dem. Mehdi Hasan is the sock dem. Hasan Minhaj is the progressive liberal, and Hasan is the socialist. It would be fucking great. That would be so cool. The current H3 rebrand to P3 and auto. Did you guys see what happened with Ethan Klein? It's really early, so it's before I'm normally like talking in live right now. Chat, I've decided, I know I've failed to do it. I'm trying to start earlier. I was talking to Denims about this, and we were like, we should start our streams earlier. And I was like, yeah, there's nobody streaming earlier that I'm like, when I wake up really early on the weekend and Denims isn't live, I'm like, there's no one I really want to watch. So I'm like, maybe I should stream earlier. Oh, we're gonna start streaming earlier, I think. Mike, now I'm curious. Who do the H3s and H3H3 stand for? Hasan haters on Sky News Australia.
Moving on now to the ABC's.
Oh, Struggle 4 is cool. I like Struggle 4. They used to be called Left Flank Vets, but I guess they got yelled at for being veterans, which is super bummer because that was such a fucking base name. Also, Hasan was interviewed on NBC. Okay, chat. Can I just say how I am kind of feeling optimistic? I am kind of feeling optimistic. Because, and the reason why I'm optimistic is obviously we raised a lot of money yesterday for a really cool socialist candidate for governor. And this is what I've been calling for. I've been calling for, I don't like local offices as a place where socialists run right now. Like, obviously, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying that we need people at the highest levels, president, governor. If we're really going to change the Democratic Party, if we're really going to do entryism, we're not going to do entryism by running for school board. We need to seize the largest positions of power, governor, senator, president. We're not going to do it by becoming even mayor because there's so many layers of government above them that can contain them. We need to have high-level positions as well as local positions in order to implement a social democratic regime. Thank you for getting me interested and involved in DSA. I'm setting tables up with them at a farmer's market this weekend, and it's been great for me. There's nothing that makes you feel less doomer than hanging out with other socialists. Nothing that... Have you seen Wisconsin's governor candidates? Francesca Hong is her name. Her policies look really good. Honestly, Vex Clown, I want to say you weren't here yesterday, which is very funny because not only is she based, not only have I heard of her, we are so aligned. She came on my stream. She came on my stream to announce her candidacy.
I know that Wisconsinites want a leader who has moral courage and is going to be fighting. And that means ensuring that when a bill comes to my desk, when I'm Governor Hong, and it is too incremental and doesn't actually address the material conditions of making sure that people have what they need, especially
not only did
with
she
rising
announce,
costs and things being...
Not only was my stream one of the key places that she wanted to go to announce her race, not only are we closely aligned politically, I helped build the political movement that she is head of with Ryan Clancy and the Sewer Socialists of Milwaukee. When I started 6 years ago and I found socialists running in Milwaukee, I was like, we're reviving the Sewer Socialists here, and Ryan Clancy was the first guy that we brought on our stream. This is literally something that I've helped foment. Now, they've built it up themselves. I'm not saying it's me that did it. The Wisconsinite socialists, you guys did this. You're incredible. I was a small part of it. But this is literally Mike Praxis happening. And as I said yesterday, this is why you should follow me on other platforms, chat, because I'm eventually going to get banned on Twitch. It's only a matter of time. No, I won't. I'll talk about that in a second. I'm going to publish this VOD. Or at least the highlight of the interview, because, you know, we're being very careful. Whenever I talk about Charlie Kirk, you know, I don't want us to get in trouble for that, right? So we're being very careful. Well, you did good because I found her on TikTok, so it must be working. So yesterday we raised $20,240.69. So not only did she come on my stream to announce her race, one of the first places she went, because of course she did, we raised them over 20K. And you can also use my link. If you missed it, contribute using my link. Make me get all the credit. Thank you. We're currently at $20,897.69. And so that comes to the next one. Francesca's raised, I think she's raised over $120,000 or whatever. So I probably am her top fundraiser. I may be at least top 2 or 3. I'm the top bundler. Socialist bundler Mike from PA. Is Hasan gonna have her on? I am trying. I messaged him. About it. Thought on Henry David Thoreau's Peaceable Revolution. Henry David Thoreau's not my bag. The government doesn't rely on tax revenue anyway. That's anachronistic. So this is basically the Mike from PA vindicated hour. Now, I am not saying that AOC is I'm super excited about her. But I have said for a long time that she's it. AOC is going to be the socialist candidate in 2028. And so I don't want to abandon her. I don't want to foster so much hate in my heart that I look like a dipshit for trying to support her. And I also don't want to like look like, oh, I have to be principled by, you know, opposing AOC because she pissed me off about X, Y, and Z thing. So I have eaten shit by saying I have a lot of, she unfollowed me because I criticized her so much. So trust me, I am not an AOC simp, okay? She got mad at me because I yelled at her for not voting for the Marjorie Taylor Greene amendment. All right? Like, she's mad at me because I said, you know, and her dumb comments on Twitter. The Marjorie Taylor Greene amendment removing all military funding. She and Bernie are doing this stupid defensive aid versus offensive aid distinction that isn't real. Now, I am a Rashida fan. I would love for Rashida to run, but Rashida doesn't have the national name recognition. AOC has the national name recognition. I think a lot of people who are not very political or are extremely political, you guys don't understand that name recognition is very hard to get. That applies. She can't handle criticism from the left. I really hope someone shows up for 2028 that none of us could have still seen plenty of time. No, it's not going to happen. Now, Bernie Sanders was at 0.5% in 2016. Yes. And the reason why he lost is because he had to build up national name recognition early on. And so Hillary was able to win some key early states. And then the narrative about her being a inevitability was able to carry her narrowly across the finish line. I mean, who are we going to get that's better than AOC? If somebody comes along who's better than AOC, then obviously I'll support them. It's, you know, I'm not stuck on AOC. I just recognize that this is probably going to be it. And first of all, it's good for us anyway. Like, come on. She'll actually defend Hasan. She'll actually defend me. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Let's be honest. We need, like, Hasan and I don't think you guys understand how much the right wing wants to kill Hasan. Hopefully she hires her original staff without the campaign. My main concern with AOC is there's too many Elizabeth Warren types around her. No, she did vote for it at Marjorie Taylor Greene amendment that would have struck the defensive aid to Israel. The amendment was never going to pass. And the bill passed anyways on partisan line. AOC received criticism not for her vote, but because she criticized. No, I criticized her for her vote and because she defended aid to Israel. But yes, I think that you're sneaky. You're right. You're totally right. Here's how I feel about AOC. AOC is somebody who gets her power from the grassroots, who the establishment hates, but is desperate to get support from the Democratic Party. And so I am saying that you should keep yourself open to her. You shouldn't hate her guts like a freak. You should criticize her. You should have critical support for her. You should be open to her. And if your entire social media presence is shitting on AOC, you're fucking stupid. I don't know if you know what's going on in the world right now, but there were a lot of leftists. This is another Mike was right moment. There were a lot of leftists who have basically, how do I put this? There are a lot of leftists who make it their entire career mocking AOC and underestimating fascism. And they have AOC derangement syndrome and they underestimate fascism. They underestimate Donald Trump. And that is something that I have never done. I don't have AOC derangement syndrome. I criticize AOC whenever she's dumb, which is often syndrome. And the choice is not going to be AOC versus Rashida Tlaib. It's going to be AOC versus Pete Buttigieg or AOC versus Gavin Newsom. Now, I'm not saying you have to support AOC. If Rashida Tlaib runs, if Sean Fain runs, fuck AOC. I'm going to throw AOC. They're the Buzz Lightyear to AOC's Woody, okay? I'm not going to play with this anymore. I'm going immediately Rashida. I'm going immediately to Sean Fain. Like, trust me, I get it. They still think it's 2007 and Trump is going to listen to establishment folks to stop him. All bets are off now. Trump blames his problems on listening to people last time. This time he listens to Stephen Miller. Exactly. Donald Trump is a lot more dangerous than he was 4 years ago. What's your opinions on Pritzker and Van Hollen? They suck shit compared to AOC, so why the fuck would I care? What if it's a Newsom AOC unity ticket? Guys, Newsom is a Zionist. Did you see what Corbyn and Co did to Sultana? All traitors. I'm sorry, but Sultana was in the wrong. I'm sorry, guys, but Sultana was in the wrong. If you go and you take an organization's membership list and you send an unsolicited money soliciting message without consensus of everybody in the organization, that is such a profound violation of institutional like norms and institution. Like, that's such a That's a nuclear bomb move. Altana's in the wrong. I'm sorry. I like her, but that was just crazy. I have criticisms with Corbyn. I have criticisms with the UK leftists, but you don't do that, man. That's crazy. You should look at the independent MPs that Corbyn is with. They're not left-wingers. Corbyn is also in the... I'm sure Corbyn is in the wrong, but it's like, I disagree with Corbyn on tactics, and what Sultana did was criminal. Does Chad understand politics at all? No, that's why I'm here. And here's the thing, like, I'm not even saying I'm happy with Corbyn. I think Corbyn's doing a lot of dumbass shit. Like, why the fuck are they taking a year to name their party? Just call it the Working Families Party and fucking move on. Who gives a shit? Call it the Socialist Party and move on. Call it the Democratic Socialists. Who gives a fuck? Dude, that takes 5 minutes. What are you doing with, well, we want to have people vote for it like Reddit. What is it going to be, the Bodie McBoatface Party? Who gives a fuck? Call it the Suck and Fuck Party, the Socialist UK, Freedom UK. Socialist, the Suck and Fuck Party, okay? Like, who gives a fuck? It's a petty squabble. Why the fuck did it go to the media? Because she sent a bunch of email getting money from people. That's crazy. Like, no, man, you can't do that. I don't understand what's happening. Who gives a shit? It's UK shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm not paying attention to UK shit right now.
On the weekend, we published my latest...
Okay. No. We're not getting sucked in. We're not getting sucked in.
And we have got to develop a society that works for all of us. So let me give you some social security.
Here's the reality. The oligarchy tour is the AOC presidential tour. That's what it is. In case you're wondering, Bernie Sanders oligarchy tour is him passing the baton to AOC for her to run for president. And it's going to come down to whether people are going to bend the knee to AOC or are they going to have a mental breakdown. I want AOC to be than she's been. That's my, I mean, how often are we going to get a 35-year-old Latina woman socialist that's plausibly running for president? This is never going to happen again unless she wins. I look at Mexico and I see Claudia Sheinbaum and I say, look what they've got. Okay. Now, obviously, AOC is Claudia at home. Okay. She's Timu Claudia. I get that. But let's get a little bit of fucking ability to stay sane and not allow our algorithms to drive us into the fucking. All right. Try to orient yourself toward regular people and not your splinter Discord. Try to orient your politics toward human beings and not Hoscord. All right. Like, have some common sense. All right. Like, I have a lot of criticism with AOC, but please, please, please be sane. Be fucking sane. Be for real. Okay. And I'm not going to be sweeping for AOC. I'm going to criticize her when she does dumbass motherfucking shit. I'm going to criticize the fuck out of her. What are my main critiques? My main critiques is she thinks that she could pander to liberal Zionism as a viable political entity, even though, and she seems like although she's actually pretty damn good like on her votes in general on Palestine and her public statements. She gets herself battered by online criticism in a really graceless way. And then she posted a really dumb thing about how there's a difference between offensive aid and defensive aid to Israel, and that we don't want more civilians to die. So blah, 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 blah. It was very stupid. And just overall, she doesn't handle some of the like splinter discords well. One of the things that's difficult about being a leftist online is when you get popular, there's going to be psychotic splinter discords no matter what you do. How do I know? Just ask me. Okay, like no matter how fair you are, no matter how honest you are, no matter how open you are, you're going to have people who are just there's going to be random psychotic splitter discords. There's going to be people that don't watch you or listen to you inventing your position so they can yell at the fake positions, and then they tell other people that the fake positions they made up are your positions. This happens to me every day. Trust me, I get it. But I also understand that these people are largely irrelevant, okay? If you sit there and hyperfixate on the splitter discords, then you're going to become schizoified yourself, and then everyone normal is going to see you and go like, why is this guy freaking out over a 10-viewer Andy yelling at him? Like, what is he doing? And I feel like AOC has a hard time with the splitter Discord Andys. Like, she starts like considering the whole online left is actually the splinter Discord people, and she just crashes out. Also, she got into power really young, so people have been kissing her ass for a while, and so that could be bad for your, like, you overestimate your own judgment when you get lucky. You know, it's like somebody who bought a bunch of, I'll give you an example of what it's like. It's like somebody bought a bunch of Bitcoin and then forgot about it and then found the hard drive and it's like, wow, I have 5,000 Bitcoin on this. And now they're a multi-millionaire, and they start, instead of going, well, that was a lottery ticket and I'm a fucking leaky, I'm lucky as hell, they start going, I am a crypto genius. And they start like walking around like they have a big swinging dick instead of they got lucky once. You know what I mean? So AOC is not quite guy who bought 5,000 Bitcoin and forgot about it, but she got lucky. All right, she got lucky. So there was a lot of merit there, and she's good at a lot of stuff, but she got lucky. All right, and so there needs to be a little bit. She keeps her own counsel a little bit too much. That's a big red flag for me, by the way, for leadership. Honestly, I don't even like to be friends with people like this. I don't like to be friends with people that keep their own counsel. I like to talk to my friends and listen to what they're going to do and, like, you know, have a conversation and offer criticism and advice, and they do it to me as well. I don't like people that are like, no, I don't want to, I decided to do this and I want to do it. And I don't, no, I hate that kind of shit. If you're the type of person who cannot take criticism and keeps your own counsel, stay the fuck away from me. I don't like you. Keep their own counsel. I'm done what that means. It means that when you make major decisions, you don't ask for input, mentors, friends, and family. You just make a decision and then you double and triple down on it without listening to anybody else's advice or criticism or help. It means you basically think you're the smartest person in the world. It is a huge, huge red flag for stupidity. I actually think this is the number one thing that makes someone incapable of leading anyone, is if they keep their own counsel. Now, I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I probably listen to too much counsel. I'm bordering on indecisive sometimes because I try to get as much information and opinions as possible before I pull the trigger on something. It reminds me of the scene in the Game of Thrones when Robb Stark executed the Karstarks despite his mom and everyone in the room saying he shouldn't. Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. That was dumb as fuck. And that ultimately led to his downfall because he alienated an ally. AOC and her team are positioning her to run for president or the U.S. Senate in 2028, according to people familiar with her operation. Why it matters. Ocasio-Cortez's 2028 decision could shake up the presidential race or the Senate leadership. A fellow New Yorker, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, is up for re-election in 2028. A race between Schumer and AOC would be a generational clash pitting the Democratic Party's leading traditionalists against its star insurgent progressive. This year, AOC has campaigned across the country and in parts of New York State far from her Bronx and Queens district, all the while investing millions to grow her already formidable online presence. She has brought in some former senior advisors to Bernie Sanders to bolster her operation, and she hasn't made any decision about her future, but her team is working to give her choices. I think that, if I'm being completely honest, I think Zoran should run against Schumer and she should run for president. That's my personal opinion. I think Zoran should primary Schumer if he wins the New York mayor's race and he's a successful mayor, and he should primary Schumer and she should run for president. That's my personal opinion, because he's not a natural born American citizen. So Senate is the highest office he could hold, or governor, depending, you know. So I think that he should do that. He should hold down New York State for the left, use it to foment all sorts of socialist politicians, and then she should run for president. Does he want to? This is years from now, chat. He's focused on winning. In politics, you need people like me. For your movement to have juice, you need people like me that are looking ahead a couple of years, 4 years, to start to move the pieces around. You don't need people, you know, obviously he's not going to say, I'm using this as a stepping stone to run for Senate. Like, no, he's focused on being the best mayor he can be. And if he looks like he's looking past the current fight, he's going to get in trouble. It's like the difference between the GM and the head coach. The head coach needs to be involved in focusing on the day-to-day and showing up every given Sunday, you know, for that game and fully immersed in that prep and using the team that they have compete as good as they can. And then the GM, He's putting together a draft board. He's looking across the league for trades. He's evaluating his own team for weaknesses and looking for places where he can shore things up with free agents and with other moves. You need different types of strategic thinking happening for a movement. Do I have a fantasy team this year? I don't have a fantasy team this year. I won my fantasy league the last time when I was in law school was the last time 10 years ago that I did a fantasy football team and I won the league. If AOC wants to run for higher office, I'm fine with falling in line, but don't try to sell me on falling in love. Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm saying I want to criticize her so she's better. But I want to do it in such a way that we don't brainwash ourselves into hating AOC more than fucking John Ossoff or no, you know what I mean? Like I want to criticize AOC to make her better, but I don't want you to brainwash yourself into thinking that she's not as good as Pritzker or something, right? Like she would be far and away the best candidate politically for us of anyone else. There's no one else. Why is sex pessity banned from YouTube? We're going to get to that. Were you that little domino in that meme leading to Kimmel getting fired? Like 20 increasing large dominoes later? Nah. I wish I could take credit. Jerk Store, they give you the 10 tier ones. And if you're like, I hate AOC, you're being very performative. You're being very performative. She's been calling it a genocide when no one else was. Like, come on, guys. Like, come on. Criticize her for being cringe. Criticize her for fucking up. Criticize her for, you know, liking Biden. There's a lot of things to criticize for. But if you put her in AOC bad category, you're being a schizo. You literally are. And it's weird. It's fucking weird. Now, if you're saying, I don't want to do any electoral politics, that's fine. Just stop talking about them every day. It's so weird when people are like, Mike, electoral politics is fucking worthless and useless, and there's no point. We need a revolution. And then I look at their tweets, and it's nonstop politician tweets. It's like, wait a minute. Is electoral politics meaningless, or is it the only thing you talk about? Which is it? This is what electoralism is for. Electoralism is for what we showed yesterday. Zoran Mamdani helps the left. Bernie Sanders helped the left. When AOC won, that helped the left. What do you think is going to happen to DSA if AOC wins the presidency? Mike, watch this with Jorge Ramos.
Canel in Cuba is a dictator.
I haven't thought much about
Politically, I think I have to ask you this question. Just going back to Socialismo. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Miguel Díaz-Canel in Cuba is a dictator?
I haven't thought much about Miguel Diaz, I'll be honest with you. I think mostly about these 5 boroughs and how we can actually deliver affordability for New Yorkers.
But do you think Nicolás Maduro is a dictator in Venezuela?
I think he has done many a horrible thing.
But again, do you think it's important that you say that they are dictators and that people understand here in New York that you are not aligned with them?
Here's what I would say with you, chat. Anybody who tries to put you in these kind of rabbit holes is a fucking moron. And the answer that you should have is, it is not the duty of a local politician to go around the world pointing my finger democratically elected leaders in other countries and calling them dictators because of some sort of internal political thing. Unless it rises to the level of crimes against humanity or aggressive war, in which we all have a duty. The United States of America has sanctioned, targeted Cuba and Venezuela, and that has made the system worse. That has harmed the people of Cuba. That has harmed the people of Venezuela. And what we should do is go forward with a good neighbor policy, where we treat other countries with mutual respect, and we respect their sovereignty, and we keep our government here at home, not walking around the world like world police. If you give me, it's not right for you to ask the mayor of New York City to comment on every single political leader of the entire world and condemn or condone. That's insane.
I think it's clear, and it's important for me to showcase how this is a vision for the people of the city. And as you said, it is in stark contrast to the experiences that many others have had. And I think when I hear from a number of Venezuelan New Yorkers about what drove them to come to this city, the conditions that they had to live through, I understand their skepticism. I understand their caution. And yet I have found in them an understanding that my vision is one that is distinct from that experience.
Yeah, but I wonder if you're reluctant to call them dictators in Cuba and Venezuela.
I'm not reluctant. I just haven't thought about them that often. I'll be honest with you. I think that Maduro's government is one of repression. There's no question about it. And I think
it's in Cuba.
Sorry?
And also it's happening in Cuba since 1959.
And I think that the repression that Whether
Since 59? What, Batista was some freedom-loving Democrat? Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here?
speaking about Cuban New Yorkers or Venezuelan New Yorkers that they have had to live through is a repression that stands in a clear and contrast what our vision is here.
This is really difficult because he didn't take the bait. He didn't give them anything. He did a very good politician answer, because the moment you're like, listen, Cuba and Venezuela have been a victim of American imperial repression and isolation, and I don't agree with that. They're going to be like, oh, so you're justifying it? And then you go down this path, you go down this rabbit hole of, and then it's like, socialists want to, repress us like Venezuela. Socialism, Venezuela, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I haven't thought a lot about them is a hilarious answer, and I love that. Jorge Ramos is a Cuban or Venezuelan. Why is he so pressed? Because he's a right-winger. He's a right-winger. All right, conversation between Bernie Sanders and Zoran Mamdani. Let's, we'll watch this after we get through the AOC discussion. Okay, so what's my general feeling about AOC? My general feeling about AOC is we have to figure out a way where we get more influential with her while we maintain our own principle. I feel like Hasan has done a good job with this. And I really hate how there are chatters out there that are like, I can't believe Hasan interviewed AOC and Bernie Sanders. Like, are you okay? Are you guys okay? What are you expecting? Now that Bad and Panada, you've taken a look at Bad and Panada's politics. They are condemn the Charlie Kirk assassination while saying destroy DSA. Does that feel like to you a very coherent vanguard revolutionary political philosopher of yours, who also said don't join a union? This is when Bad and Panada is good at being an attack dog against right-wingers and doing long-form videos. His political analysis of what we should do as leftists in the imperial core, for which he is one, by the way. He is a leftist from the imperial core. He's no better than me or Hasan. He's the same exact guy. If I moved to Argentina tomorrow and kept doing my exact same stream, except I lived in a super penthouse because I have a lot of American dollars, that wouldn't suddenly make me not a white leftist, okay, from the West. That would make me someone enjoying imperial super profits, except my exploitation of the third world would be even more direct. Streamer culture is already built on tearing down other and starting beef. It accelerates leftist infighting. That's always been a problem for us. That's why I am no longer supporting any leftist infighter streams. I don't support leftist infighter streams unless we're talking about principled critique. And I don't consider it principled critique to be like Hasan is white. Okay, that's not principled critique. Like that is liberal idpol bullshit. Now, it doesn't mean he doesn't have blind spots or I don't have blind spots. We do. And I want people to, when I do something that is legitimately a blind spot, which has happened many times, I like when people in good faith say, hey, Mike, you said this thing. I don't think that's what you believe or what you mean. Blah, 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 blah. Comrade, just so you know, you might have offended your trans chatters or your whatever. I love that. That's called solidarity. I love that. Please do that. I don't want to hurt people. That's like my main, I'm a man. I am a dumb shit. I'm going to offend people by accident sometimes. Hasan is white? No. Hasan is not white. In fact, anybody who calls Hasan white doesn't understand what white means. At best, white passing in California. That is different than being white. Now, he calls himself white because he lives in Los Angeles, California. Like one of the most diverse cities in America, and he would be considered white passing. Okay, but he is not white. The definition of white contracts and expands depending upon social conditions and context. And he has some privilege from being assumed to be white in certain contexts, but he's not white. He's Turkish. If he was in fucking Alabama, they would not be calling him white. They wouldn't be going, Hasan is white. Okay, no. Let's be, and I think it's very weird when people try to be like, well, he has some white passing privilege, therefore he is white, therefore he's a white man, therefore I could just trash him. That's fucking gross. Now, he does the right thing by saying he doesn't try to play the idpol game where he goes that he's not white, right? And he's a person of color. He says, listen, I acknowledge that I have a lot of white passing privilege. And in a lot of ways, I live in a white, social context. And so I want to be called out for when I am, stepping on people's toes or being impolitic or being cringe. That's the right thing to do. That's why I like him. But don't call him white. Like you are, especially if you're white. Please stop. It's weird. It's weird. I see a lot of really white people with blue eyes calling Hasan white. And I'm like, so they could position themselves as the one true leftist streamer. It's like, bro, you're white. You're white. Anyway, sorry for going off on a rant on this shit. I don't know if this is on your radar, but there's a new anti-porn bill coming down the pipe in Michigan, 4938. It's really bad that it mandates AI screening and criminalizes uses of VPNs and other circumvention tools with punishments of up to 25 years in prison. What the fuck? Hasan's father's family is from Greece. He's a Greek Turk, white Turk. Yo, bro, you're doing skull measuring right now. You're doing skull measuring right now. Yo, I want you to stop what you're doing and say, I refuse to do eugenic phrenology, but woke. I need you to go ahead and stop. This is why I am opposed to this kind of politics, by the way. This is why I'm not a lib idpol guy. I take intersectionality seriously from a Marxist perspective, but I'm not a lib idpol guy who's doing woke phrenology. Stop. And there are a lot of liberals that want to do this kind of shit, by the way. And they want to be like, Mike is white, so when he says we shouldn't do woke phrenology, he's expressing his white privilege because they're so desperate not to talk about class. All right. AOC's team has done events across the nation, joining Sanders on his national Fighting Oligarchy tour earlier this year. Crowds chanted AOC, AOC. Yeah, I have always thought that the Fighting Oligarchy tour didn't make sense unless AOC is running for president. And that appears to be what she's doing. It looks to me like what AOC is doing is she's preparing herself to run for president. But if she figures that she can't win, like she looks at the data and she thinks I can't win president, she'll pivot to the Senate. That's basically what's going to happen. I don't know. Mike might be wrong.
Are you aware that in the United States, every Middle Eastern person is considered white? Yeah, you've come to see a white man tonight. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, this is not a DEI show. I earned this, okay? I'm doing this for all the other whites, okay? There's a reason why we're considered white. It's because there was a major court case that was won in 1909, which is a year that none of us wanted to be alive in. Even us white people. No? In 1909, there was a Syrian immigrant. He moved to Los Angeles and wanted to be a police officer. One night, he's patrolling his neighborhood, just doing his job, and there's this drunk kid, maybe late teens, early 20s, running around, breaking things, starting fights. The Syrian immigrant arrests the kid. And as he's arresting the kid's like, oh, do you know who my father is? That's never a good sign when you hear that. Turns out this kid's dad was one of the most prominent lawyers in the LA area. Immediately, the lawyer dad took the Syrian immigrant to court, charged him, saying that he had no right to arrest his son because he was, quote, not a real American. Oh my goodness. I know there's some immigrants in here like, hey, that's a compliment. No, it's not. It's a mean thing to say. But they made a mistake because every Arab knows 7,000 lawyers. They're all in our families. Any typical brown family, you're either doctor, lawyer, engineer. That's it. Yes, 1 out of 1,000 times, stand-up comedian. Okay? Somewhere along the line, someone makes a wrong turn, has to deliver the message. Okay? And so he assembles a legal team from the Arabs in his community. They're all his cousins. And they put together a case. They made it all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. Arab lawyers, man. We'd a bomb. You know, I could pick a better, whatever. Now, unfortunately, in 1909, having an Arab lawyer was not very en vogue. So they had to hire white lawyers, but the white lawyers got all their counsel from the Arab lawyers in his community. So it was basically Arab lawyers in whiteface. You know, it was a reverse Trudeau situation. So in 1909, these lawyers, they get in front of a Supreme Court judge and they're like, Your Honor, we are here today to prove that my client is innocent, that he is, in fact, a real American. Because that is our case. And the whole courtroom's like, what are you talking about? Like, he's not white. Like, we see how the beard curls, you know what I mean? He's got like a 9 o'clock shadow, you know? Like, this whole courtroom smells like olive oil. He's not white. They're like, no, Your Honor, we'll prove it. We're just gonna ask a few questions. First question, Your Honor, where is my client? Judge is like, LA. He's like, no, where's he from? Judge is like, the Middle East. The lawyer's like, more specifically. Judge is like, the Levant, the Levantine region. The lawyer's like, nailed it. Next question. Who is your Lord and Savior? The judge starts to sweat. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ, of course. It's the only one you're allowed to have in 1909. The lawyer's like, nailed it. No, sorry. Please have one more question, Your Honor. Where is your Lord and Savior from? The judge is in a pool of sweat. Like, you know what? Your client is innocent because he's white. From then on, they made all Middle Eastern people in America white because they would rather make Middle Eastern people white than make Jesus Christ brown.
This is legitimately true. This is true. This is true. But what does white really mean? That whiteness, by the way, was stripped. That whiteness was stripped in America, especially following 9/11. But prior to that, it was starting to be undermined by Zionism in the US, specifically when the ADL went after Arab American rights groups. These are like, this whiteness was provisionally granted, but then it was removed surrounding Islamic Middle Eastern concerns. And so when we say Hasan is not white, what we're really talking about is the politics of whiteness expanding and contracting based on the political necessity of the day. The political necessity of the day required them to say Jesus Christ was white because white supremacist society, and they worshiped Jesus Christ as their religion. So they needed to say that Jesus was white, because if he wasn't white, that means they're worshiping a brown man. So white supremacy is not true. So in that context, Middle Easterners needed to be white. But later on, now that we have secularized our society somewhat, in order to preserve white supremacy, the Middle East is now brown because we're dominating Muslims from the Middle East and Arabs from the Middle East. And so whiteness, so Jesus Christ has been stripped of his racial context, which, by the way, was placed upon him in 1909, which did not exist when he actually lived. 0 CE. Okay? That's whiteness. It doesn't make sense. That's the entire point. It is a political category that expands and contracts based on exclusionary criteria. And Hasan is in the exclusionary criteria. He is a Muslim Turkish man in America. He's not white. He's not considered white by the dominant culture of white supremacist Christian people in power. They don't consider a Muslim man from Turkey to be white. Okay? So when leftists are like, oh, Hasan is white, therefore we should shit on him because he's white, and they play these word games about how, well, technically in 1909, it was declared that they were white. They're stripping the actual social context in which Hasan actually lives. And they are doing not intersectionality. They're doing pulp bullshit so they can have interpersonal advantage to grab attention. This is why they do bad analysis, because even using the analysis that they brought to the table, they are not doing it right. They're not really thinking deeply. They're just acting in a way to rationalize bad behavior by putting Hasan in a category of people that they could abuse. That's what it is. And so I don't tolerate that shit. I don't think that that is okay. Now, Hasan, what I love about Hasan is he says, yes, I am white, because he's trying to model to his white audience the right way to act. So instead of him going like, oh, I'm not white, so that he can act up, and his white audience watches him acting up and they ape it and they start to do problematic shit, Hasan does the opposite. Hasan says, I will take the discrimination for being a Muslim Turkish man with an immigrant family that I get from white conservatives in this society, but I will still act as if I have the privilege of being white so that my audience knows the right way to be. That, ladies and gentlemen, is fucking principle. And that's why I like him so much. He's a principled man, and he's a good leader and a good role model. But I don't want to see people like trashing him because of racial shit that they don't even understand and don't understand the analysis of. He's not white because I said so. No, he's not white because I just explained how it works, how whiteness works in America. Take it from me. I've been white. I'm white. All right? My family's white. I'm white. I'm white. Shit, I might be the only white person in here. I'm that white. Mike, are you saying he's a minority who's a model to white people? No, I'm not saying that, but good try. I'm white, but I've actually started refusing it on official forums and such. I'm Irish and Scottish, not white. To me, it feels more white people should be doing this. Okay, first of all, you're Irish, you Iberian, you are not white. Irish people, you're not white. Italian people, you're not white. Greeks, you're only white because we want to pretend democracy was invented by white people. So you escaped it on a technicality. Italians are white depending upon how long it's been since I had a pizza. Hasan has extensively explained how whiteness is arbitrarily and decided by the dominant culture. Like in Germany, he's definitely treated as not white, but it's different in California. Yes, of course. This is so true. It's like Vio, for example. I don't want to talk about Vio's shit too much, but Vio is somebody who, being from Austria, as a Muslim MB, they're not considered white when they're in Austria. They grew up experiencing racialized discrimination. But, you know, if you're in fucking Torongelis, if you're in the Persian neighborhood of Los Angeles, those motherfuckers act like they're white. So it's different in the social context of which you're in. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that Persian people are white. I'm just saying that that is, you know, that is the way that cultures are different, that these categories do not actually exist. They're totally socially constructed. My ass thought people treated me weird because I was weird, and then I grew up. Aw. Also, colorism is a thing. Oh my God. This is such an important point. There's a really great play that was super that there's a 2-actor play that I saw, or a small cast play called Yellow Man. I saw this right when it came out in 2002, and it's about colorism. It is so good. Yeah, it was a 2-actor play. All other characters are played by them. They switch between several characters many times in virtually every scene. I fucking loved this play. And it really was one of the, for me, seeing this play was one of those things that kind of like was an unlocking of my understanding about colorism. So I really recommend, if you ever have the opportunity to see Yellow Man, I really recommend it, because it helped me understand that, like, you could have people that have the same parents, but based on the random genetic luck of how their the melanin in their skin is expressed, they could be treated differently. Drive safe. Thumbs up. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Okay, what was I saying? She held a series of town halls in upstate New York in this summer that could help her expand her appeal for a statewide campaign for Senate. At one event in Plattsburgh, New York, she said, "Plattsburgh, we're here because every town, every city, every neighborhood in the state matters. Every corner matters. No one deserves to be ignored." Ocasio-Cortez's team has done events across the nation, joining Sanders and on his national fighting oligarchy tour earlier this year. Crowds chanted AOC, AOC. Some close allies that even believe that even if Ocasio-Cortez doesn't think she could win, she may want to run for the White House to ensure that the Democratic Party's progressive wing is represented in the primary, just as Sanders did in 2016 against Hillary Clinton. AOC has one of the fastest rises in modern American politics after topping an incumbent Democrat in 2018 while running as an unapologetic progressive. She supported Medicare for All, the Green New Deal, abolishing ICE, and has drawn enthusiastic Democratic crowds this year, in part by picking fights with the Trump administration. AOC has spent millions this year on social media and on acquiring lists of potential supporters and donors to expand her grassroots fundraising potential. Her team has spent more on digital advertising than any other politician in 2025, and as a result, they have brought in hundreds of thousands of new small dollar donations. She's also seen record-breaking organic growth on social media, adding several million new followers across TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, X, and Facebook. Across those platforms, she has 36.7 million followers, far outpacing Schumer, as well as most potential candidates for the White House. Some former aides to Sanders see AOC as an heir apparent who could expand his appeal beyond the party's left wing and immediately raise tens of millions of dollars in the presidential race. Ari Rabin-Havit, a longtime Sanders aide, told Axios she has a supporter base that in many ways has a larger potential width than Bernie's. She has been in the glare of the spotlight from day one and has the national campaign experience a lot of other potential candidates are now trying to get. It would be a height of arrogance to assume she couldn't win. I honest to God think that she could win. And one of the things that I would say, and it says, like, this is like one of those moments where it's a Mike was right moment. When you're a chatter in my chat and I'm standing on a position and you're like, you want to disagree with me, and you're in the chat and you're typing and typing and typing, what you should do is instead say, you should hit the clip button and you should say, Mike was right? ? And you should save it. And then you should come back to it in 6 months and see, you were typing so angrily in the chat. Now, what do you think? I hope he says, I have a nice weekend. Bless me, Streamer. Have a nice weekend, Duke. AOC is way too cozy with the Dem establishment. Even if she wins, she'd be Obama 2.0. I think that somebody said that to you and they injected a thought-terminating cliche into your brain. And I think that you're the type of person, if you know, I don't want to psychoanalyze you too much, but I think you're the type of person who has doesn't handle failure and rejection very well. and you are you have some sort of trauma you're working through where failure and humiliation are major preoccupations with you, and so you are protecting yourself from psychological torment. And so for you, betrayal, are you the type of person for whom cheating is like, it makes you go like see red and you get really apoplectic and you like watch cheating commentary on TikTok and you're like, man, I can't believe she cheated? Are you the type of person who would like freaks out over shit that you're not even involved with like that? Are you one of those people? The reason why I ask is if you know anything about Obama, which it doesn't sound like you do, Obama to this day does not call it a genocide in Israel. You understand that, right? Like, you're comparing her to someone who's not even in power and who doesn't have half of the positions she has, who is actively organizing against her. You're just in law. You're just making shit up. You're just completely making shit up because it's a thought terminating cliche, because if it is true, it gives you permission not to care, which is what you're really after. You want leftist permission to not care if AOC fails. You want leftist permission to not care if left-wing politicians fail. You want left-wing permission so that you don't have to get off your fat fucking ass to do anything. That's what it is. You're traumatized. Military pilots refused to fly armed planes to Israel. They were later summoned to the Pentagon, forcibly arrested, and placed in military prisons. Is that true?
You're complicit in a genocide! Eddie! There's a genocide! You're complicit in genocide!
I don't think these two were pilots, but the caption was wrong.
Come on, Eddie! Eddie, help us! Eddie, help us save them! Come on!
And here's the thing. Saying AOC is going to be Barack Obama, do you understand why that's algorithmic chum for grifters? That's algorithmic chum for grifters. In fact, I actually think somebody saying that is all the evidence I need to never ever watch them again. It's grifter bait, because AOC will betray us. AOC will disappoint us. And so what you're doing is you're creating an incentive structure to hyper focus on every single disagreement as a, I told you so. See, she's betraying us just like Barack Obama, so you could disengage. That's what it is. And every single politician is going to disappoint you or do something you disagree with. That's literally called life. I think Lenin would have zero optimism about AOC and would build the Revolutionary Party instead. I don't think you've read Lenin. I honest to God don't think you've read Lenin. Lenin would say that she is a tool. He doesn't think she's going to bring socialism. Having electoral left-wing candidates gaining non-reformist reforms will increase the power of the working class and expose them to the fact of the reality that it's a dictatorship of the bourgeoisie, that democratic elections are a sham, that we should have people like her running on a reformist or on a reforming platform asking for concessions in order to expose the nature of bourgeois democracy. And he would say that's where the masses are. And he would say the same thing about unions. He would say unions are good, even though a lot of people say, hey, trade union consciousness is the ceiling of what will happen spontaneously. We should still participate because that is fertile ground for revolutionary organizing. The more labor unions there are, the more solidaristic power we have, the more likely it is a revolution is developed, not less. So you're just wrong. He would say AOC is a temporary ally and the masses are there, so you take advantage of her shit. And he would critique her like I do. Like he specifically calls out leftists who say, don't do any electoralism. It's pointless. They were having these arguments 100 years ago. There were leftists saying, oh, elections are, bourgeois elections are obsolete. He literally talked about it and said those people are wrong. Stop inciting Lenin if you've never read him. It's fucking weird. Why do people do this? Why do you do this? Like, why do people cite Lenin like they've read him or understood him? Should we participate in bourgeois parliaments? It is with the utmost contempt and the utmost levity that the German left communists replied to this question in the negative. Their arguments and the passage quoted above we read, all reversion to parliamentary forms of struggle which have become historically and politically obsolete, must be emphatically rejected. This is said with ridiculous pretentiousness and is patently wrong. Bro, he's talking about you. Reversion to parliamentarianism, forsooth. Perhaps there is already a Soviet Republic in Germany. It does not look like it. How then can one speak of reversion? Is that not an empty phrase? Parliamentarianism has become historically obsolete. This is true in a propaganda sense. However, everybody knows that this is still a far cry from overcoming it in practice. Capitalism could have been declared, and with full justice, to be historically obsolete many decades ago. But that does not at all remove the need for a very long and very persistent struggle on the basis of capitalism. Parliamentarianism is historically obsolete from the standpoint of world history, i.e., the era of bourgeois parliamentarianism is over, and the era of proletarian dictatorship has begun. That is uncontestable. But world history is counted in decades. 20 or 10 years earlier or later makes no difference when measured with the yardstick of world history. From the standpoint of world history, it is a trifle that cannot even be considered approximately. For that very reason, it is a glaring theoretical error to apply the yardstick of world history to practical politics. Is parliamentarianism politically obsolete? Well, that is quite a different matter. If that were true, the position of the lefts would be a strong one, but it has to be proved by the most searching analysis, and the lefts do not even know how to approach the matter. Theses on parliamentarianism, published in the Bulletin of the Provisional Bureau in Amsterdam of the Communist International No. 1, February 1920, and obviously expressing the Dutch left or left Dutch strivings, the analysis, as we shall see, is also hopelessly poor. In the first place, contrary to the opinion of such outstanding political leaders as Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht, the German lefts, as we know, consider parliamentarianism politically obsolete. Even in January 1919, we know that the lefts were mistaken. This fact alone utterly destroys at a single stroke the proposition that parliamentarianism is politically obsolete. It is for the lefts to prove why their error, indisputable at that time, is no longer an error. They do not and cannot produce even a shred of proof. A political party's attitude toward its own mistakes is one of the most important and surest ways of judging how earnest the party is and how it fulfills in practice its obligations toward its class and the working people. Frankly, acknowledging a mistake, ascertaining the reasons for it, analyzing the conditions that have led up to it, and thrashing out the means of its rectification. That is the hallmark of a serious party. And that is how it should perform its duties, and how it should educate and train its class and then the masses. By failing to fulfill this duty and give the utmost attention and consideration to the study of their patent error, the lefts in Germany and in Holland have proved that they are not party of a class, not a party of the masses, but a group of intellectualists and of few workers who ape the worst features of intellectualism. In the same pamphlet of the Frankfurt Group of Lefts, which we have already cited in detail, we read the millions of workers who still follow the policy of the center, the Catholic Center Party, are counter-revolutionary. The rural proletariats provide the legions of counter-revolutionary troops. Everything goes to show that this statement is far too sweeping and exaggerated. But the basic fact set forth here is incontrovertible, and its acknowledgement by the lefts is particularly clear evidence of their mistake. How could one say that parliamentarianism is politically obsolete when millions and legions of proletarians are not only in favor of parliamentarianism in general, but are downright counter-revolutionary? It is obvious that parliamentarianism in Germany is not yet politically obsolete. This is all I'm saying. This is literally all I'm saying. I'm not saying that AOC is going to do fucking revolution. It's just the fact that the masses are not woke yet. They're not fucking class conscious yet. And this is a tool that we can use to get them there. That is it. And it would be great if we got some healthcare along the way. That is what we're trying to do. That's why I support a socialist running for governor of Wisconsin. Not because she's going to do socialism in Wisconsin, but because she's going to give the space for more and more radical politics in this country. That's why. And not going to jail, not being deplatformed because Donald Trump says so would be fucking great. My ass is on the line. My name is next to my opinions. My face is on my stream. Who the fuck are you? I am skeptical of AOC. I'm more skeptical of AOC than you are. That's why I can watch her and look at her and go, oh, she's kind of cringe on shit. But I don't become parasocial with her because I'm not a nerd. I just know that AOC is going to let me protest fucking Israel. I think some people mistake Lenin's critique of opportunist reformist and what is to be done as meaning no electoralism could be further from the truth. It's okay. I will explain this for all the illiterates who watch really dumb streamers who have never done anything, or who, if they do stuff, use it as a means of proving that they're the one true leftist, which is extremely cringe and not why you do praxis in the first place. Notice that Hasan, when he goes to protest, he doesn't come out going, I am the smartest leftist and I am the truest leftist. Look how I went to a protest. I'm the best. He goes out there because it's the right thing to do. He doesn't use it to put other people down. This is exactly my point. Thank you, Sneaky was the problem. Thank you. This is my this has been my argument for years now. It's the argument I made on Deprogram. Who did the Bolsheviks take power from? It wasn't the czars. It was the socialist revolutionaries and Mensheviks and the provisional government. Anyone say we should participate in elections are idiots. We can be skeptical of the Democratic Party machine politicians, and we must recognize when a politician has left our ranks. But we need to make space for our people. If AOC isn't our person, fine. She makes space for our people. If she was a Menshevik, so what? Lenin would have regarded them as a useful idiot. Exactly. Exactly. I have a lot of disagreements with AOC. I promise you, if we get a crumb of power, we are not doing this shit. It's going to be more worker control, more healthcare, education, high-speed rail, public housing, and a jobs program. I hate these fucking losers, man. Okay, if Hasan gets power, he's not going to do it. But if I get power, I will. If there's ever a point where Mike from PA is chairman of the Communist Party of the USA, I promise you, I will censor the right. I promise you I will. But guess what? I'm not in power yet. Anyway. So what do I see? What do I see as AOC? If you can't see AOC as a benefit to your movement is stupid. I will only vote for Leah Tlaib. They're going to be campaigning for AOC. Summer Lee and Rashida Tlaib are going to be AOC's closest advisors. I'm sure they're mad at her. I'm sure they have disagreements with her. I'm sure there's some passionate feeling between them. They're going to be her closest advisors and friends and surrogates. Are you okay? No, they won't. All right. How much money do you have in your bank account right now? I have negative 300. Oh, damn. Not another bet. I mean, guys, of course they will. Of course they will. I'll explain it to you. Instead of just telling you it's going to happen, I'll explain how it's going to happen. All the centrist Democrats are going to glom on to centrist Democrats. And AOC, even though she's popular and well-known and has a lot of money, is going to be spoiling for allies because she needs to have people that are endorsing her. And the people that are going to endorse her are going to be the most left-wing people because they're going to try to get attention from her. And they have their own internal political logic. So for Summer Lee, she's going to support AOC. For Rashida Tlaib, she's going to support AOC. Why? Because AOC calls it a genocide. And they're going to want to get in with her. So if she wins, or if she pressures the other people to go to the left, they want to make sure they're inside with AOC to push her to the left. That's logical. And they're going to use, and of course, all of their supporters are going to want to support AOC. You guys can't see the future like I can, which is okay. You guys just can't see the future. When it happens, you'll go like, oh, that was obvious. But you can't see it like I can. Everything is going to change socially around AOC. Everything is going to start changing algorithmically around AOC as well. It's going to be incentivized to support AOC. In a year or two, there's going to be a lot more juice for supporting AOC. So a lot of the people that are current detractors, they're going to find themselves at her rallies. Trust me. There's a reason why I criticize AOC, but I have never condemned her and said she's fucking worthless and hate her. I have always criticized her because I could see the future and I know how politics works. It's in cycles. Right now, no one's running for president. So there's no one to glom around. There's not $1 billion being spent on presidential campaign. There isn't all this algorithmic juice and interest from regular people. But it's coming. And a lot of people are going to be like, well, a lot of people who are now saying shit about AOC in the future, they're going to be like, AOC changed and she's so much better. And what is going to be the reason they change those positions? They change those positions for algorithmic juice. This is what will happen. In fact, I guarantee it. Now, there may be some people that try to hold on to criticizing AOC from the left. There may be a niche of people that are like, AOC sucks. There may be a niche. We'll see what happens. I can't, there may be some sort of like AOC is shit. Actually, we need to support the Green Party or whatever. There may be a small niche of that continues, but it's not going to work. That'll grow after she wins if she wins the primary, then that niche will be a very good niche. But prior to the primary, that niche is not going to do very well. This is just how the algorithm works. There's a reason why I'm one of the bigger streamers, because I could see this coming. I know how the algorithms are going to go. I'm not saying this because, it's just, trust me, I've been doing this a long time. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of dumb shit on the left. They'll love protesting Boba on Palestine the week before the election. I don't agree. I don't agree. I think that specific shit made sense at the time. I think that made sense at the time. I think protesting AOC made sense. Even though I disagreed with it, I thought it was stupid tactically or strategically. I get it, which is Bernie was not calling it a genocide. He just called it a genocide this week. Obviously, if you have a lot of emotional connection to Bernie Sanders, that is a profound betrayal. And it is. It really made me not like him. Like, I'll be honest, like Bernie Sanders being a fucking dipshit on the genocide and taking forever to call it a genocide and still kind of being a liberal Zionist, that has really made me like Bernie a lot less. Genuine question. Trump started running the moment he lost his re-election. Should she start soon? She's already been running for president for 6 months. Where have you been? Where have you been? What do you think the Stop Oligarchy tour is? Please, if you see Yanez Engler on the big platforms like yours, you follow him on Twitter. He's running for NDP leadership in Canada. When is the leadership election for the NDP? No, I don't think she's doing it because she wants to run for president. She's doing it to spread empathy instead of hate. You are such a beautiful flower. Never change. You are a beautiful soul and a gorgeous flower and never change. You are perfect the way you are. Oh, it's in March? Okay. Well, let me learn more about the NDP internal politics shit before I comment. Because I don't feel like I know enough. I would just be shooting from the hip, and I think that's irresponsible. So let me figure out what the fuck's going on with the NDP. We have some time. I could have Maple Takes on my stream as my person of Canada expert. My person of Canada. Bernie building his endorsement power is good. When Bernie endorses a Gravala, an AES, a Graham Plattner, this is good. Although I think people think sometimes Bernie's too flexible. At the end of the day, he has a staying power. Same with AOC and Zoran. My feeling with Graham is I have serious concerns about the BlackRock shit or Blackhawk shit he did. Whatever the fuck that group is. They got renamed. And working for the State Department as a PMC is very, very sus. Blackwater, thank you. I'm saying like every word. Black Hawk, like it's like the hockey team. Sorry, I was thinking about Canada. My brain wires got disconnected. Blackwater. So I have concerns about that, but he'll be one of the better senators. So I kind of am provisionally critically supporting his effort, but it's not like I'm not like super like if you're in Maine, I would be behind him 100%. But I am a little concerned about him. A little bit. But he seems decent. You would make a great whip if we ever got a Socialist Party mic. Oh, yeah, that would be my dream. Do I see him on par with Brad Lander? No, he's better than Brad Lander. A lot on Dan Osborne. He's a lot less exciting than Graham Plattner. The best position for me would be political commissar. Chief political commissar. Basically, in the Soviet Union and China, they have a section of the military that is dedicated to politically educating the military. And so they make sure that the military does not become right wing. And they are involved in the command structure of the military. So I think the best job for me would be political commissar of the military. The U.S. folds political duties into regular military officers' command structure. They don't have specialists for it. I mean, they do. They have like kind of a how do you describe it? They have an investigatory wing. They're like mini FBIs.
Who do you think should be the Democratic standard bearer? If you had to choose right now in 2028 for the presidency, who would you feel comfortable as party leader?
I would say that it's an honor to be represented by Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in my district.
All right.
I think the one thing about AOC is she stands to my right, pretty firmly to my right. However, I think a lot of people to her right like her. I think people to her left get very mad that she's not more left wing and she's kind of cringe. She's such a millennial. So I think there's a lot of like Zuber leftists who don't vibe with that, which I get. She's extremely millennial. She actually may be the most millennial person I know. Mike, it's my birthday today. Just want to say thank you for all you do. Love the interview yesterday. All the voices you uplift during your stream. Keep up the great work. I do my best. I care deeply about. The thing about me is clout is not what I care about. I care about policy, and it gets me in trouble a lot. And I don't like to virtue signal myself, which a lot of virtue signalers don't like about me. So I have a lot of enemies, and every time someone declares me their enemy, they're telling on themselves big time. I'm not a fan of Mr. Beat. I'm not a fan of Mr. Beat. I'm not a fan of Mr. Beat. This guy is very right-wing. It is what it is. Also, this person campaigning for president, honestly, I cry. Like, I saw this already, and I kind of teared up. I kind of teared up, chat. I saw this yesterday. I love Mia more. She's so cute. Would you consider Claudia to be a socialist? Yes, because I'm not stupid. However, she's also a Mexican nationalist. So anytime you have a decolonial situation, which Mexico is very much colonized, like Mexico is complicated because it is a settler state, but it's also a decolonial project. And it's also, yeah, like there's a lot of cross currents. It's very complicated. It's not easily categorized. And in order for their, their project to work, they have to defend Mexico. And so they have to make decisions for Mexico that I may disagree with. So I have critical support for Claudia. I'm much more on the support side than I am on the critical side. AOC rocks those mom jeans. AOC rocks anything, honestly. Like, AOC is just, one of the reasons I like her is because she has such positive vibes. I think that's exactly what we need. She gets angry, which I like. But I think her vibes are just generally really good and like in a positive direction. I think the country kind of wants that. Yeah, she's very affable. Like my vibes are bad. My vibes are angry. My vibes are like, it is what it is. I'm actually really nice and fun. Like if somebody hangs out with me, they're going to have a blast. But my vibes on stream, my political vibes are harsh. How would I classify Hugo's vibes?
Zoran and Como, they are afraid of the streamer class. That is
they actually are. Like unironically, they are. Unironically, they are. You know, all the chorus guys hate me. You know that, right? Like all the chorus creators hate my guts. They know who I am. Like the DNC knows who I am. They hate me. Like it is true. It is funny. Like Hugo might be joking, but it's actually true. Like they do hate my guts. And they spend a lot of time on a relational aggression against me, which is why it's very funny when leftists spend so much time going after me. It's like, wow, it's so weird how you're aligned completely with right-wingers in the DNC.
Using all signs of mainstream political violence as a tool to a true class that matters in the new media landscape, and that is people in front of microphones, people in front of they are not only afraid of us, the microphone people, they are afraid of the chatters for what is a streamer without chat and what is without us. The first they came for the streamer and I said nothing, for I was not a streamer. Then they came for chat and I said nothing because, and then they came for me, a lowly YouTube watcher. There was nobody there to who the fuck would for YouTube.
I was attacking with the 9/11 statement. Exactly.
I love Hugo so much, man. Oh, chat. I don't wanna leak things, but Hugo and I are cooking. I'm cooking 2 5-course meals for you guys. Just in case, we are cooking up 5-course meals. Hugo and I and someone else and I are cooking a separate meal as well. No, you're not. Don't lie. What? Why do you mean? What? Your first chat is saying don't lie? Yes, I am. An English brekkie? No, something that tastes good. Didn't you say that you and Dennis are cooking something? Did I? We all remember Hot Tub True. I'm working out now. I'm going to do an Austin show hot tub reveal, okay? When my body looks like Austin show's body, then I'm doing the hot tub stream, okay? I'm working out. I'm working out today. I promised a hot tub stream, and the hot tub stream is going to come. It's been 3 years. All good things take a while. How is the rage room? Oh, yeah. I got to do the rage room. Fuck. Well, can we make fun of Destiny? So I don't know if you guys saw this, but Destiny got demonetized from YouTube. Now, this is drama, and I know it's not actually Dennis. So Destiny went and did, he has this organization called Unfuck America, which is basically just a clone of Charlie Kirk. Like where he sets up, he basically just tried to clone Charlie Kirk completely. Now the problem with Destiny is he's not a left winger. He doesn't believe in anything. And he's a sex criminal. And so nobody wants to associate with this fucking guy. The empty chairs. But his reaction was this.
I feel like my YouTube is going to get permaban soon because I got like broad demonetized yesterday for that I didn't even cite a video. So I don't know. I'll appeal it. We'll see what happens. But I mean, if Kimmel is getting canceled from ABC, I don't know.
Casey Tron says the way he's doing this, we could have joined hands and owned the MAGA's routine like anybody wants to associate with a sociopathic sex criminal who keeps Rolodexes of blackmail on even his friends. The thing about Destiny is he's evil and he's a narcissist and he has some of the most profound inferiority complex that I've ever seen. And Casey Tron is a queen. Everybody follow Casey Tron. And most of us naively didn't realize who this guy was until much later. And the way he sexually abuses his fans and exploits young girls with personality disorders is disqualifying for any reasonable political project. If you do not filter out Destiny from your political project is not safe. Period. The guy is a sex criminal. He also called for my death. He called for Hasan's death. He said he was planning on killing a child and that he bought a gun to do so. He said that he wanted to kill multiple people who exposed him for sending revenge pornography of women that he secretly recorded against their consent or knowledge. He would have sexual encounters with fans, and then he would secretly record them, and then he would share those videos with other people without their knowledge or consent. This guy is a revenge pornographer. He admitted to having porn of an underage girl that he bought from Twitter, or was given to him from Twitter. I'm not really sure on the details. And as far as like free speech, this guy has been one of the most anti-free speech content creators on the entire internet. He basically got ads taken away from marginalized streamers, and any streamer that talks about politics or contentious social issues no longer has ads on Twitch. He and Dan Saltzman did that. So in other words, he made it harder to be a left-wing content creator on the internet. He did that. He stripped our fucking ad revenue. So now for you to be a left-wing political content creator, you either have to have a job, outside income, or you have to have a stream large enough to get subscriber base big enough to pay your bills. He basically fucked over. Thank you, Open Presence, for the 25 gifted subs. He basically cost me at least 6 figures of income. He personally catapulted Nick Fuentes' career. So if he got banned, if he got deplatformed, it's a fucking good thing. And he's not going to get banned for Charlie Kirk shit. The Charlie Kirk shit is what pissed people off, and they looked into all the crimes he committed, and that's why he's getting deplatformed. He's getting deplatformed for all the crimes he committed, not for the Charlie Kirk shit. So don't act like this is some sort of fucking First Amendment thing. It's not a First Amendment thing to deplatform Destiny. So this guy has been gone around and tried to deplatform, and he did damage to the ecosystem. So now if you're an independent left-wing content creator and you want to make a Twitch stream, it's so much harder to get to the level where it's sustaining because of this fucking guy. So I'm glad he's demonetized. I hope he gets completely deplatformed. Fuck this guy. And he's not a left-winger. He called for a genocide in Gaza. He outright called for it. He didn't just deny the genocide, which he's done. He called for a genocide of the Palestinian people. He called for their ethnic cleansing. If there's any justice, he'd be in prison for his crimes. It has nothing to do with his Charlie Kirk take. And anybody asking you to show solidarity with this guy is an evil piece of shit. He also harasses non-political streamers. Do you know that he basically led a mob against Pokimane? He was one of the people that pushed a huge mob hate campaign against Pokimane that was made off of an abuser's lies. He's a fucking evil rat. Like, this guy is dog shit. Here he is. He went to Israel and advised IDF soldiers to cover up their war crimes.
I think Israel has unique issues. Here's the one piece of advice I'll give you, okay? If you're joining the IDF, okay? Leave your fucking cell phone at home and stop taking stupid fucking videos, okay? Because everybody's fucking you with them, okay? And if you see a soldier, okay, going through a fucking drawer, and listen, if you want to fucking wear a dress and you think it's funny, just don't fucking take a fucking video picture of it, okay? Jesus. Okay.
He didn't say to the IDF soldiers, don't commit war crimes, treat the Palestinian people with respect. He said, when you commit your war crimes, it's hilarious, just don't post it online.
Okay, yeah.
The Teamsters have gone insane. Like, Sean O'Brien is a huge L. That's probably my biggest L, is I thought Sean O'Brien was going to be a leftist. But thank God Sean Fain came so I could pivot to him, because Jesus Christ, is he a fucking moron. Instead of taking care of his son, who has now turned into a Nazi, the sociopathic cult leader is actively telling his audience that it's moral to kill Hasan in real life because I said Palestinians have a legal right to resist against an illegal occupying force conducting a raid. He called for Hasan's death. I think you could perfectly justify attacking/killing Hasan IRL for statements like this. Guys, this is stochastic terrorism. This is Destiny telling his audience, you could kill Hasan. This isn't even an inferring. This is him saying it's justified. This is so far beyond the pale, it's absolutely unbelievable. It was Hasan saying that if you did an illegal raid in the West Bank, that Palestinians would have the right to resist. That's not beyond the pale. That's a statement of international law. That's uncontroversial. His fan base is going to go off the rails if he gets banned off another platform. Guys, his fan base will fall apart if he goes to another platform. You think normie libs are on Rumble? You think normie libs are on Kick? You think he's going to get... I love Biden people on Kick. Wait, did he get banned from Kick? No way. I doubt it. Yeah, see, he's not banned. He's not banned from Kick. Is Destiny Jewish? Why is he going so hard for Israel? No, guys, don't make his support of Israel about the Jewish religion. That's fucking stupid. The only reason Destiny blew up on YouTube is because he harassed Pokimane. Literally, that's why.
The trans athlete is going to do a lot to like foster a lot of really...
Hold on. Actually, I searched Pokimane, but you don't have to do that. All you have to do is look at his top videos. If you go to videos and you sort by popular, Fedster exposes Pokimane, leaks everything. This was the video after he got banned from Twitch. Or this was the video that really got his account going. And everything in this video is bullshit. Everything he spread in this video is completely wrong. And Pokimane was 100% a victim. Did he ever go back? And I mean, maybe he made another video saying, I'm sorry, but it didn't. Oh yeah, I forgot he defended the guy who sexually harassed every woman in adjacent to offline TV. Yes, he did. That's how he built his YouTube, by doing the most incel content you've ever seen in your entire life. He also said he's an Islamophobe. This fucking guy is disgusting. And there is nothing redeemable about him. It disturbs me how he has any supporters left. What's disturbing is his fans are just like him. Okay, I want you to imagine. I will tell you the average Destiny fan. I want you to be somebody who is upper middle class white boy whose parents gave them an internet or a tablet at a young age and then never did anything to develop their emotional intelligence. I want you to be below average video game player who plays video games all day. Okay? You know who I'm talking. Hard stuck bronze. Okay? Then I want you to have a sadistic streak and be bullied a lot while in school and have a lot of pent up impotent rage. Now I want you to never, ever, ever have a single romantic relationship or any real close friendships that are not mediated by the internet. This is the pool of people that become Destiny fans. They are friendless, sexless, rudderless mediocrities with a sadistic streak. That's who ends up there. That's pretty much every single one of his fans. And there are a lot of people like that. Mike, what the hell is SDA? Social democracy? Do you mean, what are you, there are so many things that have been called SDA over the years. What are you specifically talking about? Thank God I have a wife and a loving family and emotional intelligence. Otherwise, you're just describing me. If you have emotional intelligence, you're a Hasan fan. If you are somebody who is not a sadistic little weenie, then you're not a Destiny fan. You were asking me to describe the profile of a Destiny fan. I gave it to you. There's a group, the Social Democrats of America, tried to recruit online. That sounds cursed. We already have a social democratic organization. It's called DSA Right Wing. If you want to be a social democrat in America, you could be in the DSA Right. Describe Asmongold fans. They're Destiny fans, but they're subnormal, not mediocre. They're people with no potential, not people that miss their chance at potential. They're the world's grotesques. The one thing about Destiny, and I will say this is the one positive thing I would say about Destiny, is like, I think it's good to have places where people like to have intellectual debates. In history, we always had places like salons, or even the local pub, or the Union Hall, where people would, or, you know, if you're a right winger, the Legion, the you know, like the Legion Hall. Basically, places where people would go and just like talk about ideas. Venetian cafes, where people would like come, talk about stuff, debate things, have ideas, have perspectives. Like, that's what he was creating for a short period around 2018, 2019. And I think that it's completely normal to want to be in a space like that, to challenge yourself intellectually, to look at ideas, to learn. That stuff is, but unfortunately, he's not intellectually equipped to manage a space like that. And he's too insecure to be wrong. He has to be perceived as always right. He has to be perceived as never learning anything, knowing everything. And that ego makes him unsuitable for hosting a space like that. And ultimately, there could have been a debate space that was intelligently run. There could have been a debate content that was elevating. But unfortunately, we don't have that. All right. So am I going to get banned on Twitch?
I think is they'll probably drop me as a sacrificial lamb instead of genuinely trying to push back against this. This is a real push that's taking place. The House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, Republican from Kentucky, invited the CEOs of Discord, Steam, Twitch, and Reddit to testify on the radicalization of online forum users. The reason why they added Twitch onto this specifically is, even though Twitch has no factor in this investigation whatsoever, whereas Reddit, due to the profile of the roommate being prominent on Reddit, Steam, due to the Steam shooters, the shooter's Steam profile, and Discord, due to the fact that the alleged shooter was on Discord, those are three platforms that have been mentioned in the investigation. Twitch, on the other hand, has not been mentioned in the investigation at all. And if the conversation is actually about broader online radicalization, then they would obviously factor in Meta, YouTube, Kick.
Here's the thing, chat. I'm going to talk to Twitch's executives at TwitchCon, and I will get a feeling on how they're trending, and I'll know if we're fucked or not. It's the primary reason I'm going to go to TwitchCon. I'm going to TwitchCon to talk to the Twitch executives. I honest to God, like, don't really care for what is TwitchCon soon, right? I don't even remember. I said I would go a while ago. I feel like Twitch has literally no reason to do anything different. And honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I don't even really think they're getting that much pressure. I think Destiny, because he's so desperate for attention, kind of took a lot of the energy out of going after Hasan. I think a lot of right wingers are actually going after Destiny now. Oh yeah, which reminds me, we need to talk about Destiny. Let me complete the Destiny thing by reading his messages. Destiny has been harassing me, Hasan, and other streamers for years. He has used far-right communities, snark subreddits, and stalking forums to do so. He even coordinated with Fox News. And then he gets one day, he got retweeted by Alex Jones, and a couple of congressmen said, at FBI. And this is what he immediately did. There's no point. It's just way too many pussies with zero fucking spine. People like Hutch, Pisco, CNN, etc. could do their thing. I think it should just be a conservative fascist government. I think I might do this event and retire to gaming for 6 months or indefinitely. Unreal. Look at how they stick together. So this motherfucker has been coordinating with Nazis, with snark subreddits, with stalking forums. He's been trying to get me banned by taking clips of mine out of context, clips that are 7 years old of me and Hasan, and playing them up as if they're with completely fabricated stories about them. He's done it for almost my entire career. He's been dedicated to spreading misinformation and fucking with me whenever he has the opportunity. Based on what reason, by the way? The reason is because I beat his ass in debates. That's it. And then I grew without him. We weren't personal friends. I never liked the guy. I think I was cordial toward Destiny for 1 day. One. Alex Jones had a huge segment on Hasan. And we thought it was hilarious. And we hyped it up. Destiny folds like a fucking coward instantly because he doesn't believe in anything. And he said the quiet part out loud. I think it should be a conservative fascist government. We know this is just a grift for you, Destiny, you fucking worm. You spineless worm. And he has done damage to the left. I would say the most successful content creator at damaging the left structurally was Destiny. By making Twitch much less hospitable for politics, that's all he's done. And Twitch was one of the strongest left-wing spaces for politics. All he's done is make Twitch less hospitable for politics. Great fucking job, dipshit. And all he does is attack other left-wing content creators who actually stand up for something, for shit they believe in. Like, for example, Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, and stopping the genocide in Gaza. He didn't bring down Hasan. He didn't bring down me. He didn't bring down Denims, but he hurt a lot of people. There were a lot of streamers, chat, with a couple hundred viewers who would get $500 a month, $1,000 a month from ads that don't get that anymore. And when you're a young person and a small content creator, getting $1,000 a month from ads can go a long way to helping you invest in your stream and making it a permanent career. And those people are no longer getting that. Casey comment is gold. Yeah. Shocking video. Watch leftist mouthpiece Destiny brag about playing to murder a family. Blame Trump for Charlie Kirk's assassination. Call for more conservative deaths at rallies. Wish for the death of Devin Nunes. We are live breaking it all down.
Shit. Deserves to die. Conservatives have been disgusting for years, which is why I don't give a fuck about anybody that winds up at any of these rallies and gets shot or whatever the fuck, okay? Because they had no problem making fun of Paul Pelosi. The entire world would be better off if these people were permanently removed from these platforms. Like, there is no downside and only upside to see people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool never be allowed to publicly broadcast their opinions ever again.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear.
If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term.
I'll give you one last chance, Destiny, to condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Yes, you are acting like a non-human.
Why can't I hear Donald Trump
condemn
violence in this
all
country?
right, you won't condemn it. Okay, we've all heard.
That's insane.
We've all heard you repeatedly refuse to condemn it.
We've heard Donald Trump refuse to condemn it too. But for some reason, the leftists on YouTube are a bigger deal. Unbelievable.
Yeah. What's incredible is you don't have the basic humanity to condemn it. You'd rather taunt his widow. I find that sickening.
Destiny was able to be, like, he got banned from Twitch because he said Black Lives Matter protesters should be mowed down by white redneck militias. Mowed down refers to shot with a machine gun, an automatic weapon, or hit with a car. He called for the mass murder of leftists. That did not get you deplatformed from YouTube. You could call for the mass murder of left-wing protesters. At the height of BLM, you are clearly a member of Antifa and will be going to prison. I'm a clearly member of the anti-fascist movement. Is that what you're saying? Are you pro-fascist?
Look, when you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball, the Lady Gaga, the Justin Bieber, who gives you these carbon tax messages. They tell your kids they got to love Justin Bieber. That's this week only. Every fundraiser sale details.
How much ads are on this fucking thing? There's like a minute of content and then 4 minutes of ads. What the fuck?
Oh, I did troll the shit out of the DDoS kid. That's a guy, that's one of the people, like, legitimately, like, I was so, you have no, like, it's actually kind of scary, like, how close I was to getting people together to go down to his house and kill him and his family. Or it would have just been him and his father. Because I didn't know anything about it. Dude, that was some of the most fucked up shit in my entire life. I was so fucking close to doing it. But I was making so much money on Twitch, and I don't know if Nathan was involved in yet, but for whatever reason, I decided that the current life I had wasn't worth the risk of, oh my god. Oh my god, I was so close to this fucking address. I had fucking streets mapped out and fucking every...
By the way, chat, that is conspiracy to commit murder. Once you take one substantial step toward commission of the crime, and if you have a conspiracy with other people, this is a confession for conspiracy to commit murder. If you talk with other people about committing murder, and then you start mapping out the streets and shit, that's enough for you to go to prison.
You have no fucking idea. That's when I first started getting an interest in, like, owning a weapon. I got a permit to own a gun and everything. Holy
Oh, could you imagine watching Nunes' eyes pop out of his fucking head? Nothing would make me happier.
Oh my God, I would fucking jerk off. So I would save I would never need to.
He's talking about him being hung.
I was porn again. If I had a live video feed of Nunes being killed for crimes against his fucking country. Oh my God, it would be the most arousing fucking thing I could ever imagine seeing.
What a fucking weirdo, dude.
In my entire life. I'm squeezing my hog to this. That worthless, subhuman fucking piece of shit deserves to die.
Conservatives have been disgusting for years.
You see what I mean about being a weird, sadistic freak? Like, you could think that conservatives or some fascist deserves to be punished, but to get sexual pleasure over imagining a snuff film, that is necrophiliac, that is snuff film, that is sociopath sadism. That's a psycho shit, man. Thanks for that, chatter, letting me know that you're the president of Antifa. Thank you.
The rioting needs to fucking stop. And if that means like white redneck fucking militia dudes out there mowing down dipshit protesters that think that they can torch buildings at 10 p.m., then at this point they have my fucking blessing, because holy shit, this fucking shit needs to stop. It needed to stop a long time ago. Like, holy fuck. The rioting.
I saw this. It's very stupid. I'm not going to dignify it with a watch on stream. I saw that TikTok. It's extremely stupid. In fact, it's so stupid that I'm not even going to dignify it with a watch. So Destiny just calls for the killing of Hasan, and you just saw a small snippet of it. A small snippet of it. And if you think I'm just like observing shit, this guy has the same things. He said this many, many times, but this was where he said it so obviously that he wanted me dead.
I guess my first question is going to be, do you really think Hasan and Mike from PA should kill themselves?
I wish they would. Yes.
Do you think that's at all a harmful statement to make that goes against, I don't know, just objective morality?
No, I think their deaths by suicide would make the world a safer place for more people.
By the way, that is 100,000% against YouTube TOS. It was said on YouTube. It's 100% against YouTube TOS, but because he was saying that leftists should kill themselves or be killed, they didn't give a shit. Seeing the interviewers yesterday have to double check with Hasan saying I'm the CEO of Antifa to make it sure it was a joke and not misunderstood really shows how stupid people are that reporter needed to do that. I mean, oftentimes when reporters ask questions, they don't think the thing, they're just asking a question that a person with a third grade level in intellect would ask. That's the kind of thing with like, that's the thing about journalists. You can't necessarily assume that just because they're asking a question, they're stupid. They might be asking a questions for stupid people. It's common on mainstream media. You have to give them a little bit of that. If they like follow up and like try to position, like argue the point, that's different. Sometimes they will ask questions just to kind of head off other questions.
Places like Portland are a myth. Antifa is no myth. The decentralized organization and fluid communications used by Antifa groups give superficial denial. Antifa trains members to remain anonymous. It's all here in the Antifa handbook, which
what the What? That's a good book, by the way, chat. We should buy it. I need a copy of that. I don't think I have a copy of the Antifa handbook. Ooh. I bought the audiobook. But I didn't buy the... I want a hardcover. Is there not a hardcover? Just a paperback? Damn. Yeah, I bought the audiobook, but apparently I never bought the hardcover. What am I doing?
They're going to rise up if I let... John Brown did that.
Did he really?
Yeah, that's how he sparked the Civil War in America. He was like, I'm going to start a... He thought, rightfully so, that slavery was... He was very religious, and he was like, this is the gravest sin.
Mm-hmm. John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry.
Yeah, he was like, if I go take the armory at Harper's Ferry, all the slaves from all the area are going to join us. And not many of them did. Almost none.
So he's a white guy or black guy?
He was a honky.
But his last name was Brown.
He gets a lot of credit in the black community.
Does he really?
I mean,
Brown is a Scottish name. It's one of the most common Scottish names. It's one of the whitest names, actually. Ironically, Brown is one of the whitest names. However, and this is... I don't want to get into it because it's not my place. And even though it's historically accurate, I learned a long time ago. I had an argument with a friend recently when I was talking to them about the way the legal system works. And I explained to them that you could be convicted of a crime beyond a reasonable doubt based on the word of one person. And they didn't think that that was right. They wouldn't believe it. And I was like, yes. All you need, all the evidence you need is the testimony of a single person, and you could be convicted beyond a reasonable doubt. And they were like, so, and I was like, I went to law school. I studied criminal law. I studied criminal procedure. I worked in law firms. Of course you can. And they just didn't want to believe it. So I've learned recently that just because something is patently true doesn't mean people are not going to be offended by it. So I'm trying to not give you facts that people are going to lose their minds about. If the jury finds the testimony compelling, yes, of course. Wait, how does that work? Basically, it is the credibility of a witness is a finding of fact that is done by the fact finders, which is the jury in a jury trial, but it can be a judge in the bench trial. So basically, I'll give you an example. So-and-so grabbed me. So-and-so sexually assaulted me by groping me. He felt me up. Now, there's no bruising. There's no video. There were no witnesses. That is still a crime. And if the victim comes in front of the jury and says, so-and-so felt me up and testifies, and then the person, and then the counter evidence is, nah, no, I didn't. The jury is perfectly within their rights to believe the woman. And if they believe the woman and they find her testimony credible, then they could find all the elements of the crime. And therefore, they can convict them beyond a reasonable doubt. You're so right. I spent 7 years inside. Many people are convicted off of a single person's testimony, commonly a single individual. Yes, I know. The Highland clearances was when the English learned how to colonize other groups of people. Yes. That's why a lot of Scottish people came to America, because of capitalism. The early capitalist clearances targeted Scottish people. So a lot of Scottish people came to America. However, they also, and let's be completely honest, Scottish people were deeply involved with the African slave trade and the administration of slave society. So a lot of, actually, ironically, Brown, because it's such a common Scottish name, and a lot of slave owners were of Scottish heritage because they were early American settlers, and they got the land, they got the acres of lands that they took from indigenous populations. They later went on to enslave Africans, and when a lot of those people were manumitted, or when slavery ended, many of them took on the names of Scottish people they knew, or people of Scottish heritage, and they took the name Brown. So a lot of black people in America have the surname Brown. So in America, there's a lot of black people with the surname Brown, but it is a Scottish name. It's a very white name.
Fucking, he's the man. He started and they hung him. He's from Kansas or something.
My last name is Welsh, and I'm sure as hell not Welsh. Yes, that's true. There's a lot of Scottish names in Jamaica as well. Exactly. Because Anglo-Saxons, like the original white people, were English and Scottish. I was hoping to catch up with Andrew while I'm here, and maybe we could kick back and share a 15-year-old Scotch. Sure, redheads are nice. That's one of my favorite boomer comics. Anyway, long story short, John Brown is political violence, bro.
They're going to rise up if I let... John Brown did that.
Did he really?
Yeah, that's how he sparked the Civil War in America. He was like, I'm going to start he thought, rightfully so, that slavery was... he was very religious, and he was like, this is the gravest sin.
Mm-hmm. John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry.
Yeah, he was like, if I go take the armory at Harper's Ferry, all the slaves from all the area are going to join us. And not many of them did. Almost none.
So he's a white guy or black guy?
He was a honky.
But his last name was Brown.
He gets a lot of credit in the black community.
Does he really?
I mean, he was the man.
He started...
And they hung him. He's from Kansas or some shit. Yeah.
No. He fought in Bleeding, Kansas. He's not from Kansas. I think he was from New York, right? Where was John Brown originally from? Or was it Ohio? I thought it was New York. Upstate New York, yeah. If you don't know, I honestly think studying American history is really important for leftists. I think a lot of the kind of rad lib people that I know who are incredibly annoying pieces of shit, they don't really study American history, and they don't understand the incredible liberatory Americans who lived in this country. They don't really know. I don't know if it's like a Southern thing where they think all white people are racist scum. And if you're from the South, you're right. But there's so many really cool liberatory Americans and things that we can draw from our own history, which I think is something that we should do. But anyway, Bleeding Kansas. Basically, one of my favorite eras in history was they were trying to do the lib thing, and they were like, okay, well, Why don't we do, I have a perfect compromise. Why don't we just let people vote whether there's slavery in their territory, and then that'll determine whether there's a slave state or a free state. And that way we won't have to just, you know, that'll be the last compromise and democracy will work. And what ended up happening is a bunch of pro-slavery militias went into Kansas, because that was the territory, and they started shooting anybody who was anti-slavery. And so men like John Brown, I believe they were called Jayhawks, right? Yeah. So they were called Jayhawks. So a bunch of left-wingers came into Kansas called Jayhawkers, and they killed the pro-slavery people, and they won. And the pro-slavery guys were called bushwhackers. And so the anti-slavery people came in, they killed the bushwhackers. John Brown was one of the most famous Jayhawkers, and they won. And then people from Kansas became known as Jayhawkers, which is why the mascot of the University of Kansas is the Jayhawk. That represents the anti-slavery forces that came in and killed the pro-slavery people. It was meant to serve as a visual representation of the Jayhawker movement, a homage to the university to the state's history. Plunderers and militant abolitionists were referred to as Jayhawkers or Redlegs, and they were both used as terms of derision toward those from Kansas after the Civil War. The term Jayhawk has evolved over the years into a term of pride used by some Kansans. These gangs were guerrillas who clashed with pro-slavery groups from Missouri, known at that time in the Kansas territory as border ruffians or bushwhackers. There you go. Now you learn. Now you know. Even the famous drinks in my town are racist? Wait, what happened, Quirky? No way they were called bushwhackers. That's an extremely popular drink that all the bars at the beach make in Florida. There's a reason they call it the Deep South. Why did they name it that? After visiting guest dog Bushwhack, an Afghan hound. So that guest was a racist. I think bushwhack just means attack someone on the road. Yeah, an ambush or act of assassination, yeah. And sometimes it literally means like going through untamed vegetation, which I call trailblazing, but okay. Kind of seems sussy. All in all, John Brown history is cool as fuck. I think we should talk about the Battle of Blair Mountain. I think we should talk about John Brown. I think we should talk about Free Soilers, and we should talk about sewer socialism. We should talk about these movements of liberation in our own history. And yeah, a lot of them were fucking problematic. A lot of them suck. The idea that America is just this unredeemed right-wing shithole country that has never had anybody who is pro-liberatory is just wrong. And I also think it makes people not believe that we can change anything, when in reality, that's not the case. We had a lot of proud liberatory groups in history. Hey, Chad, I'm sorry if this is off topic, but have you heard about Francesca Hong, who recently entered the Wisconsin governor's race? You know what I love? Thank you for following. Welcome to the Central Committee stream. I am not taking credit for this, but I will say that I have been one of the catalysts for the socialist movement in Wisconsin personally. And not only did I have Francesca Hong on there, not only have I heard of her, I should honestly keep this open because I didn't publish yesterday's VOD because, you know, I talked about Charlie Kirk and I'm not trying to get banned here. I'll make a highlight. She announced her campaign here. We were one of the first places she went to announce her fucking campaign. Yesterday. If you follow me, you know that yesterday I helped her raise 20 grand. So the thing about me is I like to be a talker, but I bring people on my stream from time to time when I feel like we can be a hinge point for someone. I don't always shoot 100%. And here she is. She replied to me. Thank you. It was so great joining you. So first of all, I think that you look like a dyed-in-the-wool Mike from PA head. In fact, you need to make sure you turn on notifications because this is exactly the place that you've been looking for. This is exactly the place you've been begging to exist. It already did. You just didn't know about it. So welcome on in. Wisconsin has a long history of socialism. Fred Bessett Blair ran for office as a communist and ran a bookstore in Milwaukee. I have a chapbook of some of his writings. I love my new chatters. It's a good sign when people try to teach me things that I am known for teaching. That means that Mike from PA thought is spreading from beyond these walls, which is amazing. Mike, did you know the thing that you're most famous for teaching people about? Mike, have you heard about Xi Jinping's socialism with Chinese characteristics? I don't know. Do you think he might be a socialist? Is Hasan going to interview Mark Ruffalo? Oh, yes, Hasan is going to interview Mark Ruffalo. Let me bring that video on. I don't want to lie. I don't want to be a liar.
Since we're in Marvel mode, forgive me. I'm going to be fanboy and do a quick rapid fire.
Okay, let's do it.
We're going to do a quick rapid fire.
All right, I'm not very rapid, so.
I'll make you rapid. Remember, you're scared of my interviewing, so I'll make you do it.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. Who wins in a fight between Superman and the Hulk?
Hulk.
Rapid, Mark,
Alex,
rapid.
to the prime.
Hulk. Who wins in a fight between the Hulk and the Red Hulk? The legend.
Oh, that's easiest Hulk. Come on.
Harrison Ford loses to you. Don't we love Harrison Ford?
No one beats the Hulk.
Not even the Red Hulk?
Not even the Red Hulk.
I do love Harrison Ford, though.
I love
Two of my
Harrison
favorite people
Ford.
play the Hulk. You
I
and
love
Harrison
Ford.
Love Harrison Ford. Do you see the world through the eyes, ideologically, politically, do you see the world through the eyes of Captain America or Iron Man?
Captain America.
Okay. Would you rather have a time stone or a mind stone?
Time stone.
Okay, good answer. That's what I would do. Would you rather hang out with Deadpool or Wolverine?
We're doing Marvel questions?
Wolverine.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah, fuck Deadpool.
Hemsworth or Chris Pratt?
Hemi.
Wakanda forever or Asgard forever?
Wakanda forever.
Okay. If you, Mark Ruffalo, not Bruce Banner, had to choose, would you rather be blipped away or survive the snap?
Survive the snap.
Really? Really? Isn't blipping just easier?
We can blip. You can blip right now, bro. You can blip right now. Everybody can blip. It's not that hard. A long drop with a short stop is all you need to blip. You can blip at any time. The fuck? Of course you want to survive.
Out, you're in. You don't feel anything. You haven't gone through trauma. You haven't been mourning for 5 years.
No, this is the whole reason we're here, is this whole experience.
Yeah, the tragedy.
It all. Because the tragedy doesn't just come by itself.
That's such a better answer than mine. I'm lazy.
What was yours, baby?
I'll be like, blip me away. I don't want all the pain and suffering of losing my family.
Yo, philosophic pessimism is the most cucked ass position you can have. It is the most cucked ass position you can have. Philosophic pessimism is the most cucked ass position. I like reading it just so I can laugh at people for believing it. It's like losing the game of philosophy. I enjoy philosophic pessimism because it's like, haha, I didn't fall for this. If you fall for that, you lost the fucking game of consciousness. You failed. What the fuck does that mean? I just got here. Oh no. Honestly, okay, chat. Here's the thing. I'm making fun of it, but I'm also don't want you to read it. And I don't want you to learn more. Just take my word for it. All right? It's not worth it. It's literally not worth it. You will get nothing from it. And worst case scenario, it critically hits you. Nihilism, you can get some stuff from. There are some really intelligent pessimists. On net, it is like one of the most dangerous things for intelligent people to fall into because it can critically hit you. And I've seen really, 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 really thoughtful people get critically hit by pessimism, and it's just not worth. Best case scenario, you become an existentialist, but that takes like mental discipline, and it's not worth it. Just be a leftist. Just be a modernist leftist. You know what I mean? Like don't even bother. Don't even bother. You don't need to read that shit. You don't need to know. I've already said too much. So true. Oh wait, it's this Hasan who interviewed Mark Ruffalo? Yes, I tricked you. Although I bet you Mark would go on Hasan's show. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't. Absurdism is good. The best case for cure for pessimism is lived experience. I'm not talking about it from the point of view of like the word pessimism as you use it. I'm talking about philosophic pessimism. It's different than that. You and Denims both did the Hasan trick. I stole it from her. I'm gonna confess. I stole the Hasan trick from Denims. I stole it from her. It's true. I did. I'm caught. I stole from a white man. Stole from a brown woman again. We're caught. I stole from Dennis.
Last quick question: if you could play any other person in the Avengers movies, who would you look like to have been? If you'd been cast in any other role?
Oh, that's hard. Wolverine.
Really?
He's not an Avenger, though. I mean, it's in the universe.
Can I see you as a Wolverine? Yeah, maybe.
Could you?
I'm being polite now.
I when I was a kid, that was my guy. It was Hulk and him.
So could you get ripped like Hugh Jackman?
Not.
I think you'd say
the thing about Wolverine is he's a short king. Well, I could be Wolverine. Okay, All right, if you no 6 foot Wolverines. I hate that Hugh Jackman is 6 foot. He's a short king. You're stealing our roles. I'm tired of the tall stealing our roles. I might be too tall for Wolverine, to be honest. I might be too tall for Wolverine. Oh, is he supposed to be 5'4"? I thought he was 5'8". Okay, or 5'9". Like, okay, I'm way too tall for him then. I'm way too tall for him then. I thought he was 5'6". I'm still too tall for that.
Probably. You could just say yes. We'll never know. It's a counterfactual. We'll never know, of course.
Are you joking?
You could do it. You could do it a couple of nights with a trainer. You'd get those pecs.
Just some push-ups, sit-ups, and
all right, let's take the Avengers and make it serious and say, given the show our country and our planet is in right now, what kind of I'm not even a superhero. What kind of character from the Avengers movies or from the Marvel universe does the world read right now to fix so many of our problems? And please don't say Thanos.
It needs all of them.
Where's the full interview? I want the full interview.
You and I were talking at the time. People forget Israel bombed Gaza in 2021. It was a much briefer issue. And you said the G word back then. Genocide.
Yes.
People went nuts.
They went nuts.
And you came out and apologized and said the language was not right. Today, I assume you don't recall from the G word.
Not at all. This is absolutely a genocide. Yeah. We have the
consensus
of the majority of scholars.
Yeah. Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, all of them.
B'Tselem.
Yep.
B'Tselem within Israel.
Genocide.
Probably, yes, genocide.
But people still throw the anti-Semitic label around, even now, just to completely emptying it all meaning.
It's the Hasbara. It's part of that system of oppressing thought, oppressing free speech, oppressing the need to know, oppressing knowledge. That is a system that's been developed by Israel. And not just Israel, but enablers. And I understand why. I understand why. I mean, I understand this need after coming out of the Holocaust to protect yourself, you know? I understand it, okay? But you can't steal another people's nation from them.
Unless you have great propaganda like a land without a people for a people without a land.
And expect that to go well. That's like planting a seed of hatred and deceit and expecting it to flower.
It's not gonna happen.
It's just not gonna happen. And what's that Zola quote? If you take the truth and you bury it, put it in a box and bury it in the ground, it can't help but explode.
It's exploding right now.
It's exploding.
Do you feel hopeful? I mean, people are dying in huge numbers. It's horrific.
How do you feel hopeful?
But that's my question to you.
I'm not feeling hopeful. It's heartbreaking. And why people have signed that thing. Someone called me yesterday and said, did you see that the Israelis' response to this? And how it's going to hurt and how filmmaking should transcend this. I was like, 100%, man. But we are in drastic time. This is a genocide, okay?
Child killed every hour.
This is a famine, a genocide, ethnic cleansing, human immigration. I mean, they're pushing people off their land. This is do or die now.
This is a story that's developing today because Mark Ruffalo and a few other relatively high-profile artists are making another push against Israel. Hollywood stars back boycott as Israel's minister targets film academy. In response to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, A-list Hollywood actors and filmmakers have pledged to boycott Israel's state-funded movie industry. Their action comes at a time when Israel's cultural minister is also threatening his country's film and television academy. Today, I'm denouncing the genocide in Gaza, he told Variety. Bardem joined Emma Stone, Jacqueline Phoenix, and Mark Ruffalo and more than 4,000 others who signed the pledge organized by the group Film Workers for Israel. Jacqueline. I don't know how to say. Joaquin Phoenix? I can't read. I literally can't read names. Like, when I see someone's name, I freeze the fuck up. I don't know why. Joaquin Phoenix. Thank you. Jesus Christ. When I see people's names, I just like freeze up. Like, oh, I'm going to mispronounce it. And then I mispronounce it. Film Workers for Palestine. This week, a UN Commission of Inquiry concluded that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. Israel has denied the charges and called the members of the commission Hamas proxies. Did I say Joaquin Phoenix? Joaquin Phoenix. I said it. I thought I said that. I can't speak Spanish at all. Whenever I see a Spanish name, I freeze up. I don't know why. Names just, they fuck me up. On stage at the Emmys, while accepting the award for Outstanding Supporting Actress for a Comedy, Hannah Einbinder shouted, "Free Palestine." So a lot of A-list actors are starting another effort led by Ruffalo to push back even more. I mean, too little too late, I guess, but I appreciate it nonetheless. I'm not gonna say that okay, I should say that these are just actors and artists. They're trying everything they can, and it's incredibly dangerous for your career. So let me just say thank you for doing this. I think they also made a TikTok or something. They made some sort of like, I thought they made a TikTok or a Instagram post. The fuck? Huh? Did they get banned? Mike, can you please cover the UK party imploding on itself? I already mentioned that. I said they were being dipshits. Boots Riley signed it. These are, like, he signed the initial one. Andrew Garfield signed it. Elliot Page signed it. There's a lot of people signing on now.
I saw Richie Torres on Adam
Friedland.
Friedland. Yeah. Adam Friedland. I love this kid.
Great.
I watched him on there. And I'm watching a guy who, like, I know he has a core. Like, I know he suffered. I know he came up. But what happens to you is you get bought little by little, especially when you come up from nothing. You really appreciate the people who help you. You're taught that as an ethos.
You feel you can't break with them.
Yes, you internalize their narrative because they were there when no one else was.
Yeah. Even if that means you end up apologizing for the killing and maiming of children.
Yes. Even if that means you apologize for the killing and maiming. It is so hard to keep your moral integrity once you start taking the money. Once you make those little fudges, the distance it takes for you to return back to your moral center is quadruple the distance you walked away from it. I just think it becomes very, very hard.
And we're seeing it in real time.
We're seeing it in real time. We need people to be grounded in their moral integrity right now, because that's where credibility is.
And history will judge us.
History is judging. History is judging us.
I really like Mark. He's so cool. And he's been involved in the left for a long time. Mortgage rates climbed after Fed cut rates. Mark is still a liberal at heart. I wish he was more of a socialist. I would call him a non-ideological leftist, which means he's a soft heart. He's a bleeding heart. I have a 2.99 rate. Looks like I'm never refinancing in my life. You should not. That's like free money, bro. You literally got free fucking money at 2%. That's like lower than inflation. They're literally paying you to borrow the money. Mine is 1.8. They literally paid you. You are literally winning. You could get a savings account that has a higher interest rate than 1.8. You could have taken that mortgage money, just stuck it in a savings account, and had free fucking arbitrage money. I got the sweetest deal ever. I guess I'm not getting a better deal. Yeah, no shit. You have the best deal in history. Like, oh, ho hum, poor me. I have the best deal ever. Oh, life sucks for me. Fuck you. All right, chat. Australian Sky News. This is basically Australia's Fox News. They did a report on Hasan.
Flagship political program 730 for the record.
Oh, my girlfriend is too nice to me. Oh, my girlfriend's too hot. Oh, the steak is too perfectly cooked. Oh, this is like, I once took someone to a meal, and right as we were finishing up the entree, they said, I'll never have a meal this good again. But they said it in like a depressed way. What the fuck is wrong with you? That, ladies and gentlemen, is what philosophic pessimism really is all about. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. It's like going, my steak is too delicious. Every other steak will be compared to this for the rest of my life, and they're all going to come up short. First of all, motherfucker, you don't know that.
It took nearly a week to cover the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And when it finally did, this is who they decided to interview.
Kill them. Kill those motherfuckers. Murder those in the street. Let the streets soak in the red capitalist bloods, dude.
Yes, the person they spoke to about Charlie Kirk's death was Hasan Piker, a very far-left political streamer notorious for his violent rhetoric. Now, host Sarah Ferguson did actually ask Piker about that particular clip, and he just brushed it off as a joke, but he has said far more than just that.
Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be showing your opponent's guts on there. You need to be shanking these letting their intestines just ride on stage. Slice them up, slice them, dice them.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, kill Rick, okay?
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization
that is also a part of the Lebanese parliament.
Do we like them or no?
I think as a resistance group, they're pretty successful against Israel.
Overall, what my favorite flag?
Yeah.
Hezbollah. Look it up.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag.
Any kind of Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the local dog catcher if they've ever exhibited any sort of positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious.
America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
As for the interview itself, it started off with Piker condemning the assassination, but it quickly devolved into criticism of Kirk and the Trump administration.
Instantly, I knew that this was going to be something that the administration will use against those that they've declared political dissidents. And unfortunately, my fears were realized shortly after when Donald Trump came out, only a couple hours after announcing Charlie Kirk's untimely demise, and make a statement about how they were basically going to start prosecuting and persecuting political dissidents.
And it gets even worse. The ABC in its
Wait. Okay, I gotta replay it, chat. I'm sorry to make you watch it right back, but I went to pee. I missed it all.
This is who they decided to interview.
Kill them. Kill those mother. Murder those in the street. Let the streets soak in the red capitalist bloods, dude.
He was kidding. He was literally talking to a landlord who was a friend of his at the time, and he was joking. He was joking because he was talking to a landlord friend. Well, who's now his biggest enemy and stalker because they stopped being friends. But you get it. He was being hyperbolic as a joke, as a fucking joke. Although having the Antifa comic book in the background.
Yes, the person they spoke to about Charlie Kirk's death was Hasan Piker, a very far-left political streamer notorious for his violent rhetoric. Now, host Sarah Ferguson did actually ask Piker about that particular clip, and he just brushed it off as a joke, but he has said far more than just that.
Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be showing your opponent's guts on there. You need to be shanking these mother letting their
It's called a fucking metaphor. It's a metaphor. Do they not use metaphors in Australia? He wasn't saying, oh, hello, AOC, bring a knife onto the debate stage and stab Pete Buttigieg. What the fuck? It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. What the fuck are you? It's not even a joke. It's literally just a metaphor. Are you okay? We're not allowed to use metaphors now?
Their intestines just ride on stage. Slice them up, slice them, dice them.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, kill Rick's, okay? Hezbollah is a paramilitary.
That's a metaphor. That was a metaphor. That was a juxtaposition. He was saying Republicans don't care about Medicare fraud because they have a senator who was the biggest Medicare fraudster in history. He wasn't saying the Republican Party should kill Rick Scott as a sacrifice. He wasn't suggesting that they kill him. They were saying, oh my God, it's literary speech. Are these people illiterate?
Organization that is also a part of the Lebanese parliament.
Do we like them or no?
I think as a resistance group, they're pretty successful against Israel.
Overall, what my favorite flag?
He didn't say he liked them. He said they were successful resistance group against Israel. What? You can't say the facts? And then Israel struck back with the pager terrorism attack, which you guys praised, but that was a terrorist attack.
Yeah. Hezbollah. Look it up.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag.
Any kind of
Why can't you enjoy the aesthetic of a flag, okay? Why can't you enjoy the aesthetic of why can't you compliment the aesthetics of the flag? How many people have said that Hugo Boss made some really aesthetically pleasing Nazi uniforms? Everybody agrees. Hugo Boss. Those Nazi uniforms were snatched. Nobody says that Nazism is good. Okay, everybody says it's bad that Hugo Boss was a fan of the Nazis, okay? Everyone agrees that that's bad, but everyone understands that aesthetically, those uniforms are iconic. In fact, we still use them to signal evil because they are so fucking starkly fascist in their aesthetic that you could just look at someone and go, okay, that guy's fucking weird and evil.
Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a rabid neo-Nazi, and you shouldn't even let someone be the local dog catcher if they've ever exhibited any sort of positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious.
America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
As for the
You're gonna do a 5-second clip? Come on, don't be such a pussy.
Interview itself, it started off with Piker condemning the assassination, but it quickly devolved into criticism of Kirk and the Trump administration.
Instantly, I knew that this was going to be something that the administration will use against those that they've declared political dissidents. And unfortunately, my fears were realized shortly after, when Donald Trump came out only a couple hours after announcing Charlie Kirk's untimely demise, and make a statement about how they were basically going to start prosecuting and persecuting political dissidents.
And it gets even worse. The ABC, in its online copy, portrayed this guy as some sort of a hero. It wrote, despite the escalation of threats directed towards him, Mr. Piker told 730 that he would remain vigilant but undeterred, while in a country where gun violence is a problem. Let's bring the panel back in to discuss. Now, Kel, this Hasan Piker is just an abhorrent...
Okay, the reason why this is happening on Australian news is because there is an internationalist, capitalist, fascist movement anchored by the Rupert Murdoch network. So Sky News in Australia, Sky News in the UK, Fox News in America. It's all part of the Murdoch fascist empire. And so they all say the same exact shit.
Individual. I don't know what they were thinking.
How the fuck are you guys so cucked by Murdoch in Australia? Why don't you guys shut this shit down? He's not an Australian anymore. He took the American citizenship. Fucking regulate this shit as a foreign news. Come on, do something. Don't be such cucks.
Him on this platform as if he is this some kind of representative of progressive views. He is as fringe as it gets. He has these despicable views. You've seen the clips. He has a track record of supporting terror organisations, of specifically calling for violence. And these journalists, they seem to not understand who these people are that we're dealing with.
I've got to be honest and say, I don't believe they didn't do their research. They must have had some idea of who this man was, because they played a clip. They did play one clip and ask him to respond to it. So they knew where he was coming from. What they also...
And the clip was sort of, okay, now we can talk to him because we've asked him the one tough question.
We've tamed it. That clip, he's actually saying things that a lot of people in the Democrat Party say. Jasmine Crockett is saying things like this. And she's in Congress for the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party has got people saying things almost as extreme as this man. What's happening, we talk about Australia being divided, America is more deeply divided. The left is now extremely left. The Democrat Party is now extremely left. And you can't go on thinking...
If the Democratic Party was actually left-wing, it would be popular.
Of your opponents, the Trump supporters, as evil without thinking it's okay if they do.
Sorry, Chad, I had an itch there for a second.
Die. If this young man, father of 2 little girls who now don't have a daddy, if he's on the right, he is so evil he deserves to die.
Bring you in here. What do you think of it?
Who even said that? You're just inventing shit. Are we not even going to at least quote someone? What prominent left-winger said Charlie Kirk deserves to die? Who said that? What prominent left-winger said Charlie Kirk should be shot? Nobody did. That's just bullshit. It is just complete and utter horseshit.
I'm shocked that they've given a platform to him and airtime to him. I think it risks normalizing very inflammatory rhetoric.
Donald Trump is the president of the United States and said that he didn't have problem with far-right groups because all they want is to stop crime. What the fuck are you talking about? You can't act like this when Donald Trump is your guy, you pussy-ass bitch. Saying Kirk had bad takes equals deserve to be shot by these people. It's like, I don't want Charlie Kirk to be shot, but I'm not going to pretend he was a good guy because he was shot. Right-wingers pretend that Martin Luther King Jr. was a good guy. To them, it's because he was shot, so they pretend like they agree with him. We like Martin Luther King Jr. because what he actually said and what he believed and the change that he helped bring about in our society. And they're mad that they have to pretend to agree with those changes. That's what this is all about. They're like, well, we had to pretend that Martin Luther King Jr. was good. Now you guys have to pretend Charlie Kirk is good. And it's like, no, bitch. Charlie Kirk, by the way, said Martin Luther King Jr. was bad. That was one of his takes. He said women voting was a mistake. The Civil Rights Act was a mistake. Martin Luther King Jr. was a bad guy. Well, guess what, motherfucker? I don't think there's not one thing that Charlie Kirk said that was worth noticing.
There are so many authoritative they could have gone to for commentary on this really, really important story. And I mean, I think it's very lazy commissioning, and it just shows incredibly editorial judgment. It's a shocker, an absolute shocker.
Yeah, I agree. Now to America, where free speech is suddenly the most important principle to those on the left and the radical media commentators. They weave and twist to find any reason why those on the left should not have to rein in their rhetoric after the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
We're talking about a love-torn child, a kid. This is probably his first real relationship, and somebody was disparaging the person that he loved. He sat on that building for 30 minutes before he took the shot. Why did he wait until the first word trans came up? Then he took the shot. I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally.
He's right. Montel is right. Raging Happa, thank you for the 15 gifted subs. Chat, did you know that we are currently in September, which is a limited time moment on Twitch where subscriptions are discounted, heavily discounted. And so you could get a 6-month subscription for 30% off. Ladies and gentlemen, that makes them cheaper than they were before the prices were raised to $6. Take advantage. You're going to be here in 6 months. Shit's about to ramp up. We're about to get to the slow period of politics, baby, is over. We're about to have the New York City mayor's race, and then bam, it's right into the midterms, and then bam, it's right into the presidential race. We are fucking back. We're going to take power back from the Republicans in November of next year. They're going to end the reign of terror of Donald fucking Trump. We're going to rip out Congress out from underneath him. We're going to have socialists running all over the country. I just did yesterday the announcement of a socialist for Wisconsin governor. So you're going to be subscribed here in 6 months, so you might as well get a discount for it by subscribing right now at a 6-month subscription. Take advantage of September. We are going to fucking win. This is the point. They think Jimmy Kimmel is going to, we're going to lay, like, people aren't even laying down for Jimmy Kimmel. People are yelling about Jimmy Kimmel. You think they could do shit? You think they're going to get away with this shit? We're going to have a backlash so severe that they're going to be putting up a fucking LGBT pride flag next to the American flag in every single public school in Alabama when we're done with these people. Parents won't allow that. How are they going to be able to speak when they're wearing a dunce cap in the corner?
I think this was a emotionally stunted person who literally...
So anyway, if you enjoy this content, please consider supporting it by subscribing right now. And we have a goddamn hype train. If you participate, based on the level of subscription we get in this hype train, you will get unlockable emotes if you participate by subbing, resubbing, using your Prime sub, giving at least 200 bits, or gifting at least 1 sub right now. You will be getting love, unlocked site-wide. If we hit level 3, you'll be getting Me Sweat. And if we hit level 4, you will be getting High Hand. And if we hit level 111, we will get Should I Celebrate? We are only 103 levels away from Should I Celebrate? That's only about, I think, $15,000 or $20,000. I don't remember what level 111 is. I think maybe it's even more. Maybe it's 50. I don't know. It's reachable. We could do it. Come on. Only 60,000 subs. Come on, Cutter. Come on, China. Where are you? You're supposed to be supporting far left political content creators who are dangerously radical. Where's the Oilers? Turn this train into a plane and get it to level 911. I think that's not even possible. I think it goes like, it's almost asymptotic with the way that each level works. Like each level is like significantly bigger than the prior level. Level 911. Asymptotic. That's right. Asymptotic. All content everywhere will praise and promote Republicans and our great MAGA culture. Like, legitimately, did he say that? Is that what he said? I mean, I would believe it. Honestly, Donald, when liberals were saying that he looks at North Korea and says, we need to have our television like North Korean news, they were right. Liberals, I want you to understand that Donald Trump actually wants America to be like what he perceives North Korea to be like. They were right. The libs were cooking. The libs were actually cooking.
I want to say it this way, just hear me, tried to defend his significant other, not trying to defend some ideology.
That was Montel Williams, known for hosting a daytime talk show and dating former presidential hopeful Kamala Harris once upon a time. To Williams, it was just a story of love and in no way related to politics. Of course, CNN's Scott...
Because that's actually objectively true. If he was a young man who was cared about politics, he would be following Hasan, or at least some liberal content creator. The fact that he was not participating in any politics-related content proves to me, period, point blank, that he was not a political extremist, and he was making this based on an emotional connection. Maybe if he had not done the shooting in 5 or 10 years, he would have been more political. The reality is he wasn't. There's objectively no proof connecting him to anyone. Mike, what do you think of Kamala Harris opening up quotes? I got loyalty, I got royalty inside my DNA. I was born like this. The amount of energy necessary to refute bullshit is an order of magnitude bigger than to produce it. She's such a mediocrity. She's such a mediocrity. She's such a fucking mediocrity. That's my reaction.
Jennings was quick to point out, we not only know the motive, we have the shooter's text messages where he explains why he did it.
The evidence here.
Oh, is that fake? Because it feels like it should be fake. God, I hope it's fake.
Is overwhelming. He said, Charlie Kirk, I can't stand this hate anymore.
Wait. Twitch gave me an automated sub goal of 13,000. Twitch, why are you so catastrophically greedy? Why is Twitch so catastrophically greedy, man? Jesus Christ. Like, I would have set a goal of 10K when the gift subs get discounted in a week or so. When does it start, chat? Like, are they discounting gift subs? Gift sub finale, September 26th to October 1st. Valorant Champions will sponsor an extra gift sub for every 5 you purchase in a channel. Okay, so it's not as good as last year.
Take him out. The testimony from him and the statements of his family. He had become...
Amanda said, thanks for upgrade to a 6 months. Thanks for the heads up. I'll still be here. Yeah, you save like $15. It's crazy. Of course you should take advantage of that. Wait, gifted subs are already 25% off? Really? Yeah, no, you should honestly... You should get, honestly, like if you're a subscriber to this channel, you should get the 6-month sub. Seriously, you should. It is just intelligent. I'm a noob. I tried to buy 6 months. Where can I see if it works? See if you got charged for it.
More left wing. He etched the statements that are made by the left about Republicans and conservatives and Charlie Kirk fascists on the bullet casings.
He made a joke about it in his last text.
But it doesn't sound like a joke to me.
The joke, that's based on a video game, Helldivers. It's not a joke about the left. It's a Helldivers reference. It's a video game reference. He was a 22-year-old kid. He's a 22-year-old kid. Like, come on.
Because someone's dead and about to be buried. Well, so it doesn't sound like a joke to me. So I'm just telling you, there was an effort all weekend long on the left to try to make this guy sound like he was a conservative. That failed. That was passed around all over the weekend. That has now failed. The evidence has now come out. He was motivated by hate.
Listen, I didn't say he was definitely a groyper. I said that all the evidence was that he was an always online memer. To do a political shooting at Charlie Kirk, I thought, who is the main enemies of Charlie Kirk? The answer is the groypers. And it turned out that maybe that's not the case.
He was motivated by left-wing radicalism.
No, he wasn't. No, he fucking wasn't. And in fact, at the end of the day on Friday of last week, I said it looks like he's more of a nihilistic type of person than he is a groyper. I said it's probably not even politically motivated. It looks more meme-like, the nihilistic shooter. But it turns out that it's not even really that. It was like he did it to try to impress a girl. It was a Jodie Foster type shit. It's like when the guy shot Reagan. He was trying to impress Jodie Foster. He did this to impress a girl. It's just like the Reagan assassination. I'm sorry, but it's true. If the texts are real, which maybe they aren't, I don't know. Don't you know that not hating trans people makes you a radical leftist? Trans-Tifa? I mean, that's basically what they're saying. Basically, what their conservatives are saying is, if you think trans women are women, if you would be romantically involved with a trans woman, that means that you are a radical leftist. That's what they're saying. That's not true. There are plenty of conservatives. There are plenty of liberals that would have a relationship with a trans person. Like, that's literally the reality. This guy had nothing to do with the left. Nothing to do with the left. And I told you that would be the case. Now, it turned out that I looked at it like a millennial would look at it and go like, cui bono? Who would benefit from Charlie Kirk being killed? The answers that came to my mind were Nick Fuentes and Destiny. And it turns out that the person who was debating him when he was shot was a Destiny fan. So I wasn't far off. Okay? And we had, and all the Groypers laughed at Charlie Kirk dying too. So it's not like, you know what I mean? It was not a left-wing phenomenon. I checked my logs. I clocked he was not a Groyper. Yeah, no, you're right. Like later on in the stream, I thought he was a Groyper. We looked into it with that as the working theory. Then it became pretty clear he probably wasn't a Groyper. Especially, I got really pissed off because a journalist said that there was evidence that he was a Groyper that was totally made up. But in no way is there any evidence he's a left-winger.
That's not good. I don't know. I don't think. I mean, it could be good. Oh my God. #1 interest by region is DC. Oh, brother. Oh, shit.
Hey, Hasan, do another FOIA for your FBI file. This is how you know Hasan is squeaky clean, good person. First of all, I tell you he's a good person. And number 2, if there wasn't even an iota of dirt, he would be buried under the prison. Dread to Max, thank you for the 10 tier 1s. I like the spot that I'm in, chat. I like the spot that I'm in, which is I could help leftist movements. I could organize. I have a good, secure community here. I'm making good money. I'm paying off my student loans. I'm saving for a down payment on a house. I even have an HSA account for health insurance. Like, I am, you know, listen, you like, this community has been good to me over the last 2 years, especially. So thank you for all your support. All right. My student, I'm not behind on any debts. I'm making my debt payments on time. Like I'm living the dream, guys. I'm living the dream. I'm not behind on any of my debts. How's Ethan Klein been lately? I guess Olivia quit, and then AB said, "You're not gonna like me when I'm angry," and then nobody cared. And then AB streamed to like 150 viewers. What is his Twitch? Let's do a quick making fun of AB. Starkilla. What is it? Starkilla? This isn't it. What's his Twitch? Starkilla. AB Starkilla. Also Starkilla. God, they're so fucking cringe at H3. They think they're such badasses. They think they're such bad. We're killing the stars. We're Star Killer. Last 70 days, 150 viewers. Wow, man, you're killing it. Negative 80 followers. Oh, you guys remember when they saw how much viewers I got, and they were like, he gets 100, he gets thousands, a couple K, guys, a couple K. Okay, so the last month I had 380,000 hours watched. 380,000 hours watched. How'd you do this month? 3,000. So according to the analytics, okay, sorry, that was a week. According to the analytics, he got 6,000 hours watched. So 6,855 hours. Wow. So just so you understand how much bigger of a streamer I am than he is, on Twitch, we evaluate how big you are by the number of hours watched. That's how we make these, that's how we determine how big of a streamer you are. You could tell how big someone is relative to somebody else, not based on anything but hours watched, because that shows your place on the platform. It's a combination of the effort you put into streaming compared to the number of people that actually watch you. Okay, that's how you can compare the size of communities on this. Views is not correct, because that just means somebody clicked on your stream. Followers doesn't matter. It doesn't, just because someone follows you doesn't mean they actually watch you. The thing that you want to see is hours watched. So 6,000. Why is this website so slow? What is your thoughts? Okay, so 6,000. So 380,560 hours divided by, what was his viewership, chat? Oh fuck! I thought I copied it, but apparently I did. 6,500. 6850. Okay, so I am 55.55 times bigger than AB Starkilla. Now the thing is, AB, I'm 55 times larger than you on Twitch. So if there were 55 AB streamers, that would equal 1 Mike from PA. I tell you this not to humiliate you, just to explain that you sold out your reputation. You sold out the pro-Palestinian movement. You allowed Ethan Klein to sexually harass your mom, and I am 55 times bigger than you. You allowed Ethan Klein to sexually harass your mother, to be 55 times smaller than me on Twitch. That's crazy. Did you know that during one of their live shows, AB gifted Ethan his brother as Ethan's slave? Ethan, if my boss sexually harassed my mother in my face, I'm not trying to act like I'm a tough guy here. I'm not trying to act like a tough guy. But I don't think there's a jury in the world that would convict you if you stood up for yourself. You know what I mean? As long as you didn't become an unhinged psycho, if you stood up for yourself because someone sexually harassed your mother, there's not a jury in the world that would convict you. And he laughed. He didn't even stand up for himself. That's crazy.
Numbers, 3 billion in ticket sales is the expectation from the 2026 World Cup. I was the recipient.
Oh, that's really cool. Zoran met with Lena Khan. Ooh, I think Lena should run for Congress. Listen, I'm not going to talk about AB's, physical appearance. I know it's something that they like to comment on a lot, which is fucking crazy because it's Ethan and Gila Klein, which are not exactly what I would call lookers, and neither am I, right? I'm an interesting looking guy. I'm not what you would call traditionally hot. So I don't say this. I don't comment on Ethan and Gila Klein's unusual features because, glass houses, throwing stones, things like that, I'm more interested in AB as a man. And there's one more thing I want to say about H3. I was really, really bothered the way they brought on his boxing coach to reveal personal details of their training sessions. That was abso-fucking-lutely scum behavior. It's like somebody hiring a personal trainer and getting into the gym for the first time in years, and then the personal trainer going to someone else publicly and going, I can't believe that guy couldn't bench 135. Can you believe how weak he is? That is the most scumbag behavior I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. What the fuck is wrong with you? I actually think you should be sued because there is an assumption that if you hire a personal trainer or you hire a hairdresser or you hire somebody to help you with your taking care of your body, that there's some sort of right to privacy and right to respect. And the fact that Ethan Klein is encouraging that guy to come on and shit talk him is such a weaselly worm thing to do. When Ethan Klein is not getting in the ring, Ethan Klein is not fighting fights, Ethan Klein is not boxing. What a cowardly bitch ass move. And if you judged iDubbbz based on something this guy said, you're a fucking worm yourself. Is this follower count, monthly follower count over the last 180 days? I had August was a bad month for me, chat. I lost 121 followers, which is, I don't usually have negative follower months, but August I had a negative follower month because people tried to cancel me. Well, cancel period ended. In the last half a year, I have gained 6,000 more followers net. I averaged 3,535 viewers. Peak viewers was 8,372. From a stream time of 647 hours. AB streamed 253 hours and on net lost 58 followers. That's crazy. Did I cover the Trump Bitcoin statue? I just laughed at it yesterday. I'm studying to be a personal trainer, and yeah, that's at the very least morally wrong, if not legally sketchy. No, I consider that to be fucking... I don't consider that... I'm not interested in that. I legitimately consider AB and Ethan Klein to be the scum of the earth. They have not once demonstrated to me in any issue that they have any moral rectitude, that they're men. They're not men. They're not an adult. They are slime. They are bad people. Their personalities are shit. They're dog shit. Who would hire someone who shits on clients? That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Why the fuck, if I'm looking for a boxing coach, why the fuck would I hire the guy famous for shitting on his clients the moment it's convenient? I would never in a million years hire that guy. And nobody else should either, because he shows that he has no moral rectitude, that he'll stab you in the back I'm not saying that if I hire someone, they have to agree with me on everything and they have to be my like little toady, but they should just be like, hey, I have a conflict of interest. I worked for him. He shared private information with me. We worked together. And so out of respect for him as a former client, I'm not going to speak about him. NATO jets why is this paywalled? I'm never going to pay for CNN. Fuck you. What are your thoughts on Trump calling for the SEC to change the rule requiring quarterly earnings reports, and that as the economy continues to freeze up, what is the move the left should be making? This is what I've said for a long time, that Donald Trump being elected is going to be representing the greatest opportunity the left is going to have for the rest of our lives. This is our moment. This is our moment. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be painful. But now, this is our moment. And when the economy crashes, and it will, because Donald Trump is pulling off all the guardrails, Donald Trump is repealing all the regulation, Donald Trump is pumping up all the speculation, Donald Trump is putting us into geopolitical conflicts around the globe, the economy will eventually crash. And when the economy crashes and the threadbare social safety net of America shatters under the stewardship of Donald Trump, we are going to have an opportunity for radical change. And that is our moment. What we need to be doing now is preparing. We need to be joining organizations. We need to be building mutual aid networks. We need to be making ourselves physically strong and mentally tough. We need to be learning about OPSEC. We need to be getting in shape. And we need to connect ourselves and root ourselves firmly in our local community and build up leaders to take advantage of these opportunities that are coming. Mike, you were right about tariffs causing mass shortages. Haven't seen it. They pulled them back, man. They basically blinked on the tariffs. Although prices are skyrocketing again. Inflation is cooking up again. What we really see is a decline in consumption. The consumption part of the economy is declining as well. Bakerfield has DSA that's coming up to its third meeting in elected leadership. Also, that Oliver Ma fellow for California. Hell yeah, brother. Consumption falling, but prices rising. Exactly, because of the trade that has been frozen. That's called hyperinflation, guys. All right. What else did I want to watch? Oh, yeah. Bernie Sanders and Zoran sat down and had a convo.
Senator Zoran, how are you?
So many people know you as a senator, as a presidential candidate, but you were also a mayor.
For 8 years.
For 8 years, 4 terms. And the time when you decided to run, Ronald Reagan had just won the presidency. He had even won Vermont. And yet there you were as a Democratic Socialist deciding to run for mayor. What made you make that decision?
I think Reagan was part of it. During that period, this is ancient history. You know, we were dealing with serious economic problems. We had come off of the war in Vietnam some years before. And basically, it was an attempt to involve people in the political process to revitalize American democracy. And one of the accomplishments that I am most proud of in my life is between my first and second term, we came close to doubling voter turnout.
Wow.
How's that?
That's pretty incredible.
So people had given up on the political process, mostly lower income working class people started to get involved.
How did you do that?
Here's a radical idea, all right? I don't want anyone to listen. We paid attention to the needs of the people. I know. Oh, God. Radical idea. In other words, like many cities, the needs of working class and low-income communities had been ignored. So in Vermont, we get a lot of snow. So we made sure that snow removal took place in low-income working class neighborhoods.
So we're just talking about the potential of Burlington's waterfront. What do you think? I think it has a lot of potential if there would be some improvements to it.
We developed programs for the children of those areas. We started a after-school program for the first time. We started a child care program. We started a teen center. We started a kids newspaper, a kids cable TV show. We started paying attention to the senior citizens living in low-income and working class neighborhoods. Made sure that street repaving paid attention to those often neglected communities. Today, it's even worse than it was back then. People really feel government has ignored them, and we've got to start paying attention to the needs of ordinary people.
He won his first election by just 10 votes, a genuine upset. An independent, beating both the Democrats and the Republicans.
When we started our campaign, we were reading about your path when you ran for mayor. You were in your 30s. You were running against someone who had been in power for quite some time.
5 terms.
5 terms, and he struggled to pronounce your last name.
Yep.
He called you
Saunders.
Saunders. What took you to the point where you were able to
We
take
ran,
all of it
if
off?
I must say so.
Please.
You know, what we did back then is exactly what I'm trying to do politically today. You had a city at that time that was dominated by a conservative democratic establishment. And so many people were left out of the political process. So what did we do? We went to the low-income public housing. We talked to people, what are your needs here? We talked to women's groups. This is way back when. We did not really have an opportunity. Talked to people in the arts community, said, what can we do more? We had meetings with hundreds of parents to talk about what we can do to improve life for the kids. And then a week before the election, we talked to the Burlington Patrolmen's Association, police union. And we said, look, you guys said, you guys are workers. It's a difficult job being a cop. How can the city play a better role? And we talked about it.
You were sharing earlier that when you won the race, you then came into a city council.
Still shudder.
Mayor Sanders is an avowed socialist. Socialist principles have not worked anywhere in the world. They won't in Burlington either. I think the one thing that I would say about Bernie Sanders, the Patrolman Association comment, is policing in America has always been the purview of the far right. Like, let's be completely honest. Ever since then, it has gotten even worse. I actually think that the frontier of fascism in America, both culturally, politically, and physically in this country, is in our police departments. And I think that, like, countering the police and figuring out a way out of the police state we've engineered for ourselves is the most difficult political challenge for local socialist politicians. And it needs national guidance. We need somebody who could come in at a national level and professionalize policing in this country and turn it away from, quite frankly, the slave catcher heritage that it is. It's like literally the problem we have is there is no national policing standard. We need drastic, radical change. And I don't even know how to start. I mean, I do. I have some policy ideas that are pretty extreme. And I have a host of other ideas that I would pursue. But, like, it's a massive problem.
Still shudder. We had 13 people on the board of aldermen, and their strategy was very simple. They said it was a fluke. That was the word that they used. He somehow got in. We're going to make sure he doesn't accomplish anything. 2 years from now, people are going to come to their senses and re-elect all of us, right? They made life miserable. They denied all of my appointments. So I had to work with people who had spent their whole life trying to defeat me. 1 year later, I worked so hard knocking on doors. We ran a slate of candidates. On election day, we won 3 seats, plus 2 gave me veto power, changed the whole direction. And I think even our opponents said, that we better back off. What Bernie is doing is what people want him to do. So we did so many things which brought people together to help develop a sense of community. I'll give you an example. It's a beautiful city. And I said, look, I want to plant trees all over the city. Oh, it can't be done. Well, we ended up getting money. And you know who planted hundreds of trees in the city of Burlington? The people. On a given Saturday, all over the city of Burlington, people were out there planting their own trees. We started a jazz festival, which shut down the entire city for free jazz all over the city. Still going today. Circuses. We just did a whole lot of things to bring people together culturally.
Excited that Ella Fitzgerald is here. It's certainly going to be a great few days. Thank you very much.
And where would you find the funding for this?
It was not a lot of money, to tell you the truth. You'd be surprised that small amounts of money can really go a long way, especially in a small city. And one of the things in the arts community, and I found that when I ran for president, there's so many great musicians and artists out there. They want, you give them an opportunity to perform, to be supportive of a working class ideology, they are there with you. They're an untapped resource.
I'm Jane Driscoll, and this is 242 Main Presents, a production of the Mayor's Youth Office.
So you established a youth office?
Yep, which was headed up by a young woman named Jane O'Meara Driscoll, who 40 years later is still my wife. We got married in the process. So we not only got a youth office, I got a wife. In the low-income areas, there wasn't even a little league. So we started a little league, and I was one of the coaches.
I think especially with the youth office, what comes to mind is that in New York City, we often tell kids, especially teenagers, what they shouldn't do. We spend very little time telling them what they should do.
We did, and it doesn't seem like a big deal. We established a teen center, and we said to the kids, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. You decide the music, you run it yourself under those conditions. Honest to God, I bump into people today who say, I remember that teen center. And we had musical group, battles of the bands. These kids were coming out, terrible music, loudest music you ever heard in your life. but the kids enjoyed it.
Bread and roses.
Exactly. Bread and roses. There was a lot of bread, but there was a lot of roses. And I think
Bread and Roses is a very famous socialist speech. This is, ladies and gentlemen, what we call a dog whistle.
there was a lot of bread, but there was a lot of roses. And I think this created a sense of joy in the community that hadn't existed before.
It can't just be struggle.
No, it cannot. People have a right to enjoy community.
Yeah. It speaks to the fact that governance will require everything. And so often our ideas, our movement, they are thought of as if they could only exist in a purely legislative context. But this is this opportunity to show that there's the application of all of these ideas could transform the lives of working people.
Absolutely.
The people of Burlington said very clearly that they want to do away with the regressive and unfair property tax, and they want some basic alternative.
One of the things that really struck me also about what you ran on was taking on a broken property tax system. Can you share a little bit more about what motivated you to pick that and how you see that as a progressive priority?
You got a tax system where a nurse or a truck driver may pay an effective tax rate higher than a billionaire. That's absurd. That's got to be changed. So we led the effort to breaking our dependence on the property tax because it is a regressive tax.
There are so many echoes with the struggles here in New York City, where you have a property tax system that so many have acknowledged for so long is broken, and yet there's the lack of political will to actually put forward a vision that would be fair. Wouldn't be easy, wouldn't be simple, but it would be fair. And people lose their faith in government if you can't address the most glaring example of its failure.
That's right.
It's a sad day because the United States has chosen to go to war against the people of Nicaragua.
When you were the mayor of Burlington, you would also speak up against U.S. foreign policy.
I did.
That was far out of line with the values of most people across this country.
For the last 150 years or so, the United States government, in its wisdom, has decided that Latin America should be a colony of the United States government.
How would you balance leading the city and speaking up for...
First of all, you got to do your job. You're not running for president of the United States. You're running for mayor of New York City, a city which, like every other city in America, has significant problems. That is your job. But sometimes, as the leader of a great city, you do have a right to reflect the views of the people in your city on some of the important issues facing the country. So what I can tell you, having been all over this country, is that the American people do not want to continue to spend billions of dollars supporting Netanyahu's extremist government, which is wreaking havoc and destruction on the Palestinian people. You have a right to speak out on those issues. I think you do. And I think when you do, you are reflecting the views of the vast majority of the people in this city. The thing that I have learned, to be a successful mayor, you got to hear from the people, you got to involve the people, and you got to talk to the people. You got to get through all the media crap that's out there and say, this is what I am trying to do. What do you think? The importance of your election is that from a moral perspective, from a set of values, you're going to be in sharp contrast to the President of the United States. We don't believe in pitting one group of people, often politically weak people. We don't believe in generating hatred against the group. Our understanding that we bring black and white and Latino and Asian, everybody else around
Yeah, I
an
saw that
agenda that
Illuminator.
works for all of us.
I'll check
that
it
we're
out.
not
I'll check it
bullies,
out.
that, you know, if we can say it, we believe
I'm
in
not ready
compassion.
to have an opinion on NDP yet. I'm not ready to have an opinion on the NDP leadership race yet. It would be an asshole move of mine to just click on a link and then watch a video and say, oh, this guy seems cool. No, that would be irresponsible of me to do that at this point. I want to make sure that the MP leadership that I support is the best choice. This is an example of me demonstrating something that is rare on Twitch, which is people not pretending to know something just so they could continue to posture for their audience. I don't believe in doing that.
And love. That is what motivates us. Oh my God, I know it's a radical thing. We believe in the Sermon on the Mount, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which is true in all religions, all right? So it's important that we take that value system, that we cherish our kids, no matter what their color may be, the elderly who help raise us, that we bring our people together, and that in the richest country in the history of the world, it is not radical. I know, according to the President of the United States, you're a communist, really, because you want to remove child care in the city of New York, really. You're not the radical. A system which gives so much to so few and denies so many people the basic necessities of life, the depriving people of their rights to live full human lives. That's what's radical. So standing up for justice is what the American people want, and that's what your campaign is about. So bottom line is, which is going to fall on your shoulders if and when you win, is an enormous responsibility to show the world and people throughout this country our value system can govern well and efficiently, that we can fight for justice, that we can create a better world for all people, not just for the 1%. Now, I think when you get inaugurated, you're probably not going to have the 3 richest people in the world sitting right behind you, right? I think not.
We wouldn't have invited them. I hope they're not there.
And it's not just on you, it's on the people of New York. It's on all of us. What the system has done is taken away our dreams. And they said, we get it all. I mean, just the other day, our friend Mr. Musk is in line for, I mean, it's so insane. What was it, $900 billion bonus?
He would be a trillionaire.
And yet, in this city, you got people sleeping out on the streets and people can't afford health care.
What is giving you hope in this moment?
I'll tell you what's giving me hope. And this is not just rhetoric, it's real. I have had the opportunity to be in every state in the United States of America. And I have met so many extraordinary people. And the bottom line is, you know what? This country consists of a lot of very, very good people. Look, one of the things that the whole country is noticing and why your race is so important, it's not just your ideas. The real question here is whether the will of people will prevail, whether the oligarchs and the billionaires will continue to run the city. That is the question. If you can defeat the oligarchs here and say, you know what, New York City is not for sale, that will send a message to every community in America that real change is possible.
You know, Bernie, this means so much to me because we are sitting here in one of my favorite restaurants in Astoria, Sammy's Kebab House, in the heart of my district as an assembly member. And my journey in running for office in the first place, I launched on October 18th, 2019, and the first event that we had was to your Queensbridge rally. I remember excitement, the elation we had of the rebirth of that campaign and the consequent birth of all of our campaigns. And we canvassed the line to get in. We got $1, $5, $10 donations. We got emails. I was being interviewed by journalists from Belgium. I couldn't even get an interview from anybody in Astoria.
So you took Belgium better than others.
I said, and I remember you walking out and sharing your vision for what this country could be. And to have you back here in Astoria again, it's just the ways in which you have inspired us, the path that you have tread that we now walk on, the very slogans of your mayoral campaigns, we echo them today. And in some sense, it is the energy that has powered so many of us for so long. So I just have to say
very
thank
kind
you.
of you. That means a lot to me. And I thank you very much for saying that. Look, nobody is an island into himself or herself, right? We all got it from somebody else, and I got it from other people, and they got it from somebody else. And you know, the fight for justice has gone on for a few thousand years, so, right? We're wrong. And we continue it. And you're going to be in a position to do a whole lot. So thank you for the opportunity of being able to work with you.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you, my friend.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
All right. You guys happy?
Thank you.
All right. We got enough to keep you?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
It means so much.
I think that was an incredibly honest video. And I actually like the fact that it was as honest as it was. It would be very easy to like whitewash some of the elements of Bernie's run, but the reason why Bernie won is because he was able to react to what people were calling for electorally. Yo, this guy is what a king. Curtis Evans of Evanston. Wait, his name is Curtis Evans of Evanston? It's like, it's my town. It's my city. A military veteran of the United States Marine Corps intelligence during Reagan's era carries a U.S. flag through gas deployed by federal officers as they clear protesters from the entrance of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Facility in Broadview on September 19, 2025. And he's walking over a sign that says, every ICE agent will be held to account. I'm sorry, guys, but I don't care what 15-year-old anarchist leftist says on Twitter. This guy is a king. and I welcome him into our movement. He's showing up in person at an ICE facility. I'm sure he's got a bunch of idiosyncratic ideas about America that I think are wrong. But when it comes to defending his community, he's on the right side. And I see a black flag. That probably means this is an anarchist right here. These people are my friends. These are what matter. These actions are what matter. Don't allow unorganized leftists online to box you into a bunch of commitments that you don't need to make. People could change. People can join the fight from places that you never expect. And that is what it takes to win. You have to give people the opportunity to change. But it doesn't mean you allow them to be bastards. An opportunity for change doesn't mean you compromise your values. It means you build an on-ramp to goodness, not roadblocks. It's very easy for people to fall down the right-wing pipeline. We need to help people climb the mountain of leftism. It is an arduous experience to be a leftist. It is hard work to be a leftist. And that doesn't mean that you're more moral because you are. It means you have an extra obligation to put a hand out and help people up. So this guy is a king. We had a good, this was such a fucking badass, stream today. Just the vibes were so impeccable. Brazil is saying they are joining the case against Israel. Brazil are invoking Article 63 of the Statute of the Court, filed in the Registry of the Court a declaration of intervention in the case concerning the application of the Convention of the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide in the Gaza Strip, South Africa versus Israel. This just happened. Pursuant to Article 64 of the statute, whenever the construction of a convention to which states other than those concerned in the case are parties is in question, each of those states has the right to intervene in the proceedings. If the state exercises this right, the construction given by the judgment of the court will be equally binding upon it. In availing of itself of the right of intervention conferred by Article 63, Brazil relies on its status as a party to the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Brazil considers that the constructions of Article 1, 2, and 3 of the Genocide Convention is in question in these proceedings. In its declaration, Brazil offers its interpretation of the aforementioned articles. So Israel, I think what Brazil is saying, okay, so basically Brazil is saying that if the court finds genocide, they will be compelled to intervene. The Genocide Convention is an international treaty that establishes binding obligations for its state parties, the breach of which entails the international responsibility of the state concerned. Consistent with these erga omnes partes obligations emanating from the Genocide Convention, Brazil considers that by intervening in the present case, it contributes to the uniform interpretation and effective enforcement of the convention while promoting prevention and punishment of genocide. Therefore, Article 1 of the Genocide Convention imposes upon state parties the obligations to 1. Refrain from committing genocide, 2. To prevent genocide, and 3. To punish those responsible for its commission. The first obligation provides that state parties must refrain from committing acts of genocide or any other acts listed in Article 3 through persons or groups acting directly under their authority or control. In addition to entailing individual criminal responsibility, such acts also give rise to the international responsibility of the state on whose behalf they are committed. So basically, Brazil is adopting South Africa's opinion. This is something that Destiny would talk about a lot. He would say, "Oh, there's no dolus specialis, guys. There's no dolus specialis." So this Brazil wrote this just for Destiny. The specific intent to destroy a group such as the essential characteristic of genocide which distinguish it from other serious crimes. In light of the dual nature of responsibility for genocide, Brazil acknowledges that international courts and tribunals may adopt different approaches in determining individual criminal responsibility and state responsibility for serious violations of human rights, such as the prohibition of genocide. Bearing in mind both the dual nature of responsibility and jurisprudence of international criminal courts and human rights tribunals, Brazil submits that the court should adopt a correspondingly balanced approach to dolus specialis, one that reflects not only criminal law dimension, but also the convention's overarching humanitarian object and purpose. Provided that acts of genocide are attributed to a state, Brazil agrees that the dolus specialis is to be sought first and foremost in statements of its officials and inferred from factual circumstances, and may also be reflected in state policies. According to the court's jurisprudence, however, the existence of a formal plan of policy is not required for demonstrating genocidal intent. As reported by UN agencies and compiled by South Africa in its submission to the Security Council, numerous public declarations of Israeli officials include calls for the annihilation of cities and refugee camps, suggestions that there would be no innocents or uninvolved in Gaza, and calls for Israeli soldiers to wipe out the memory of Amalek from earth. These references are not invoked as evidence of specific conduct, but rather as contextual material that may inform the interpretation of the scope of obligations under the Genocide Convention. Considering that the intent to commit genocide is rarely overt, Brazil notes that Article 49 of the statute of the court sets out the court may, even before the hearing begins, call upon the agents to produce any document or supply any explanations. Formal note shall be taken of any refusal. The only reasonable inference test. Brazil recalls that the court accepted the possibility of genocidal intent being established indirectly by inference, and that for a pattern of conduct to be accepted as evidence of intent to destroy the group in whole or part, it must be such that it could only point to the existence of such intent. This approach underscores that dolus specialis may be proven through circumstantial evidence and patterns of conduct rather than direct admissions of intent, which are exceedingly rare. So in other words, every single thing dumb fuck piece of shit Destiny said denying dolus specialis has been specifically refuted by Brazil. Mr. Bonarelli. I'm sure Mr. Bonarelli is going to read Brazil's so in other words, Brazil is taking the position that Israel is genocidal. Well, that's good. I wish we could stop the genocide. Republican optimism of the country pledged from 75% saying the country was on the right track in June to just 49%. Younger and female Republicans are especially pessimistic. Chat, we're gonna win. Chat, we're going to fucking win. All right, chat, it is Friday, and you know what that means. When it's Friday, we have a movie night. So this week, we are finishing Katrina, Come Hell and High Water, which was a documentary, a 3-part documentary by Spike Lee. Of all the things to watch from Spike Lee, this was a very interesting choice by the mods. A very interesting choice. Very, very, very Mike from PA mod decision. Of all the Spike Lee productions, to watch this is incredible, but it's awesome. So every Friday we get together on Discord. Hey, Doodleburb. And we watch this. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We get together and we watch movies together. And this week we'll be watching this.
Before the storm came, me and my cousin, we ride our bikes through the Treme area. It never crossed my mind that would be my last bike ride in my community.
Hurricane Katrina is now a Category 5 storm.
They built the levee system now to withstand a Category 3.
I woke up. My neighborhood had 20 feet of water.
I put my first granddaughter on the roof, turned around to get her 2 sisters, and she fell into the water and disappeared.
We survived Katrina. When the levees broke, that's what did us in.
The government's levees failed, and they left us. Just say that clear, they left us.
Federal, state, and local officials just were completely unprepared for something they knew was going to happen.
We predicted that people would be trapped in their homes.
I couldn't leave.
20,000 people showed up at the Superdome.
We didn't have any food, any water.
The governor said that she's ordered a National Guard to shoot, to kill if somebody's looting. I'm not sure if you call that looting. I call that survival. The American people only knew what they saw on television.
TV news loves a crime story more than anything else.
We were treated as criminals.
Why are these people holding us against our will in here?
You can look and see that this was racial.
Is anybody gonna come help us?
We're part of a culture that we want a hero.
There's no blueprint for 80% of a major city being underwater. There's no blueprint for that.
20 years later, this is still real.
20 years to life. The time should fit the crime. Human lives cut down and out, left in waters to rot.
20 years to life, and my stomach still holds a knot.
Mike, do you have a take in defense of looting? It's not looting during a natural disaster. It's called surviving. It's called scavenging. If civil society is collapsed and you're looking for food and water and medical attire or a generator or fuel and the fucking credit cards aren't working, then yes, scavenging resources from insured fucking big box stores, that's not looting. Looting is going to grabbing a bunch of products so you could resell them or whatever. And the reality is, in natural disasters, most of the time, people are helping each other. It's right-wing fantasizing to think that we go out there and victimize each other. That is exceedingly rare and a sign of right-wing fear brain. Would I watch this movie from China?
こいつらを外に出すべきではないんだ。
A movie about Unit 731. Holy shit, why are we getting Luis Scott Vargas videos? Thank you for the recommendation. Holy fuck. Unit 731 movie? If you don't know about Unit 731, instead of watching anime for a night, go ahead and read about it. It was a covert biological and chemical warfare research program running by Imperial Japanese Army in China. Live vivisections without anesthesia infected people with diseases like plague and anthrax and exposure to chemical weapons. Or do you mean the area code in Tennessee? No, I meant Unit 731. Yeah, I want to check this out. I'm so glad that China is starting to put out some movies. Chinese getting into the movie game. I'm excited for that. Movies, video games, China's cultural products. W soft power. All right, well, chat, that is going to be it for me today. Thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate you. Stay safe out there. Solidarity forever, my friends. We're winning. Also, I appreciate all the support. So if you have a couple extra bucks, if you want, you could throw a couple more towards our friends running for governor, Francesca Hong, running for governor in Wisconsin. We already raised, what are we at right now? We are at $41,101.69. So thank you guys, gals, non-binary pals, for all you do out there. Keep your head up. We're going to win. Stay safe. Solidarity forever. I'll see you very soon. And free Palestine from the river to the sea. All right, everybody. See you soon. See you tonight in Discord. Don't forget. Discord.